countdown. What is going on, everybody? What's going on, Ben? How are you this week?
It's been a while. My wife and I had another baby, but I'm back now doing what's important, which is playing video games for the internet.
Yes.
And hanging out with you, of course.
Right?
And I have come to right a wrong. I talk all the time about these immersive sims on the podcast and on the streams and stuff. These games that I love, like Prey and Dishonored and all this stuff. One of the most formative immersive sims is this game that we're playing right now, Deus Ex, although I'm playing the revision mod. This original 2000 Deus Ex is like just, often still considered kind of the high watermark of this immersive sim game design. I played this game many times on many different occasions, but I've never beaten it. So trying to right that wrong a little bit here.
It's a good wrong to right.
Yeah.
I've also never played this. I played maybe a part of Human Revolution, and I beat Mankind Divided. So I have a little bit of history with this franchise, but I, like you, have this sore spot where I've never even touched this game. So I'm very looking forward to what this looks like.
It's an old game. It's rough around the edges in some ways. Like I said, I'm playing a modded version. So this looks, better than the original version does. But
and I was asking you off camera, but is this like a Half-Life Source situation, or what is this? How is this version of the game received? How is it compared to the original, as far as you know?
Yeah, this mod is called Revision, and it's a little bit more, as far as I understand. One of my buddies. Not gonna be a buddy for long.
You're the guy talking. You don't want.
Yeah. What was I saying? So as far as I understand, Half-Life Source is basically the same game, just ported to the Source engine. So it's got different lighting, it's got some different effects, some different design there, but it's at its core, it's the exact same game. Revision went a little bit further with Deus Ex, where there's visual enhancements, but there's also like level design changes to some of the areas in the game. It's not a totally new game. It's all done, in the spirit of the old game, but it's a little bit more than just a port to a new engine of the original game. So some people don't like it because of those reasons. It kind of expands out a lot of the levels, makes them a lot bigger. But it also does some things that I think are really good, like it changes the lighting and it adds new visual effects, and it changes some of the
We still have some terrorists downstairs.
Just a lot of the visuals and some of the gameplay as well. It also adds a new version of the soundtrack, which I actually turned off, but it's a little bit more kind of cleaned up and professional sounding.
Prisoners on level 3 are a sensitive matter.
Yeah, it looks for an old game. You said from 2000. This looks
good.
I know obviously this looks a lot better because it's the Revision version.
You guys from DC?
But it really does have a style to it.
Please proceed to Madeline's office.
Yeah.
It definitely had to have stood out when it first released.
It's funny. Deus Ex really was not a looker even for the time. This is one of these things that I like kind of sticks out to me as like maybe a little bit too much like indulgence in the mod. Mm-hmm. Like these floors being so reflective.
Oh my god, that's what I was thinking. I was looking down. I'm like, wait, is that like another? Is that you're gonna drop down?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my
God. It's a little silly looking, but no, this is just an extremely well polished floor.
That has to be the worst reflection I've ever seen in a video game. Like, that's crazy.
It's a little too much.
It's like the image is literally just double.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's great on like actual mirrors, but this is too much for a floor.
Do you know when this version was released?
5 or 6 years ago, I think.
Oh, okay. So not too long. Okay.
Yeah, I think I played about half of the game on the original version, and then when I started up again, I was like, maybe I'll check out Revision. So far, I'm only about 3 levels into the game right now. So far, I'm kind of mixed on it, where there's a lot of things that I really like about it, but I think I might start up a new game because actually, I think in the settings here, you can just turn off the redesigned levels.
Oh, that's cool.
and you can just like put the it might be in game options. Map type, yeah. Toggles between revision and vanilla maps, some achievements. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you can turn off some of the more aggressive design changes, which come in like the level designs.
Manderley said he's busy, but to wait outside his office.
Because the visuals, I think, are good. I think they're worthwhile. And
I think I think like, if you're playing this game, you know what you're getting when you turn it on.
Yeah. The HD support is nice. The original game doesn't support HD monitors.
I noticed on that little like
I'd like to know what the feds are doing down
flyer
in the cell
or whatever
block.
that was had words on it. That looked real good. Like you can tell like certain things just look outstanding, but it's like that. Like that looks like something from a modern game.
Right. The textures are pretty sharp.
There we go. Yeah, that thing. Like that looks like a modern.
You can actually read this, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can only imagine what it looked like on the original.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a smear. Yeah.
But,
so yeah,
it's
a bit of give and take with revision, but I think it's overall pretty worthwhile. But I think I will start up a new game with the original level designs because I think that's pretty important
was
to the
grinding
intent of the
gears
game.
over how you handled Castle Clinton. Not how to
now,
flip her
as somebody
switches.
who hasn't played through all of Human Revolution but played through all of Mankind Divided, what's your favorite Deus Ex?
Well, I haven't played this one all the way to completion. There are some things about this game that just don't stand up to modern game conventions. I mean, like, this game is ostensibly a first-person shooter. Where am I going? I'm going to go to my boss.
Never mind Anna Navarra.
Oh, yeah,
she hates
downstairs.
everybody.
So yeah, there's some things that just don't stand up to modern game design conventions. Like, it's ostensibly a first-person shooter, but the shooting is awful and very stat-based, which is not really, there's this inherent frustration that a lot of people experience, especially in games like Fallout 3, where you point and shoot in a direction and your bullet doesn't do what you told it to do because you don't meet the stat check or whatever.
Right. And I mean, Fallout Fallout definitely has that 3. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
But
Fallout
you have
3,
VATS though, and VATS
right?
fixes
VATS
that.
makes up for it. Yeah.
It's almost like they knew it was shitty,
I'd like to know what the feds
and they
are doing
added.
down in the
I'll go to the grave thinking they made that game and they realized at some point how bad the shooting is, and they added VATS.
And they added VATS.
Which is one of the best gameplay decisions of all time, in my opinion, because I love that game. And I would hate it if it didn't have VATS in it, because the shooting is terrible.
Yeah.
And why I don't like Fallout 4, because Fallout 4 has it, and I almost feel like it doesn't even need it.
Yeah, it doesn't really. Which is why they kind of downplayed it a bit, I guess. Multi-tool, I will absolutely take that. This is my office. I'm JC Denton. That's who I play as. And I don't remember
monitors
my...
now.
Can I answer my phone? No? Oh, I was just getting a telephone answering machine.
You see the ultra wide on his desk?
Yeah, I know. Look at that. Damn.
Need that
Damn,
now.
JC. This there's no way the government's paying for this ultra wide monitor.
Right.
kidding
That's
me?
like a $5,000 monitor right there.
Okay. Time to go to Joseph Manderley's office. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, like the shooting in Deus Ex is just downright bad. So there are some things that are not great and don't hold up very well, but the scope of choice and the reactivity of this game is really unprecedented. And the modern games try to replicate it in small ways, but they never quite match that same level of freedom. So in some ways, like, this is the best of the series, and in other ways, I think Human Revolution is really good. I think each of the games. I haven't played Invisible War, which is the second one, and often forgotten entry in the series because nobody really likes it. But I think each of the original Human Revolution and Mankind Divided have things that they're really, really strong at. Like, Mankind Divided's hub city is the single most dense, most explorable, most secret-rich, most interesting location in any of the Deus Ex games. Like, it's really is really, really spectacular.
Honestly, in gaming period, I'd argue that. Like, I
Yeah.
remember exploring that. Like, when I think it was a PlayStation Plus game, I had never even heard of Deus Ex. And so I just
I
cut it
was
on
here
as a random
first.
game and just exploring.
Mr. Manderley is in a meeting, JC. You'll have to
love
wait.
that game.
I was told to report
Yeah.
for a
So
debriefing.
I've always been meaning
A
to
debriefing.
play these.
Do not worry, we are satisfied.
To see,
But
you know,
I will
what
mention in my
that's
report
rooted
that you
in.
mistake
And
yourself.
honestly,
for
so
a
far
man
so
of
good. I like the
steel.
vibe of this. It feels, it gives me that same feel that Mankind Divided felt like, but older.
Just
so
fire
there's a
the
charm
arrogant
to it
son
a
of a
little bit.
bitch.
Right.
I wasn't exaggerating. He's our best
I can
agent.
listen in.
We don't need him. We've got his brother, and more on the
They're
way.
talking about me.
He knows nothing.
I think he
Yeah, one of
does.
the things I really love about the Deus
We
Ex
should
games is
never
this
have
is this
sent him to Hong
intrigue,
Kong.
this conspiracy stuff going on, just this spy thriller kind
Look, I
of
understand.
thing
It
happening.
was your pet project, but
There's not
it's
that
out of
many
my
games
hands.
that
Now
really
that the
tap
shipment's
into that,
lost.
and
With
I
sci-fi,
know.
not
I will
sci-fi,
comply
it's
with the
cyberpunk political.
That's all I ask.
Which is
Yeah,
very. I
I'm
feel
going
like there
downstairs
is.
to
That's not
interrogate
even
the
a
prisoners.
genre. It's literally just Deus Ex.
yeah, there's very few, especially like AAA games that kind of broach that.
Cyberpunk attempts
Carry on,
to do
Agent.
it, and I wouldn't say it does it wrongly, but when you just watching like even this old school this hits a certain tone
Right.
that I
Hello,
don't feel
JC.
any game is
Come
even
in.
attempted to.
Clerical task first.
Right. Yeah,
Our
I agree.
bonus is split between the Castle Clinton and warehouse objectives, 500 each.
Yeah, you can definitely tell
You
with
get
the
the
character
full
models
1,000
that this
plus
isn't
200 for how you handle the hostage
especially
situation in the
her.
battery
She,
park subway
something
station.
about her like
Good
body
work.
model just looks
Yeah.
weird.
Thank you, sir.
And she's the updated
Who's that
version.
you're meeting with?
Oh man,
Politics,
Yeah.
bureaucracy,
what's on her
mismanagement.
arms?
JC,
Uh,
I've got some bad
modifications,
news. Mission failed.
Mechanical
We've taken out that
augmentations.
JoJo
Like
punk,
wires?
but he
Those
wasn't
supposed
even
to
in
be
the
wires?
warehouse.
Never
Yeah,
mind
something
that.
like that. I'm
We
not sure
slipped up
exactly what
before
it's.
you even got to New
You know,
York.
yeah, I think
What
her
about the shipment?
arms are mechanical.
I'm just
It
going
looks
to say
like
it
somebody
straight,
ran
JC.
a
Your
bar.
brother screwed up. You've got nothing. He's
It
taking
just
the
messed
heat this
up.
time.
I don't know.
The
Like,
coalition is letting him go.
it has
What
a
went
good,
wrong?
like I don't know,
We
like the
don't
character
know.
models look
He
old,
hasn't
but they
reported
all
back.
have
The
very.
rest
They
of the
don't look
strike force
generic.
says he lost his nerve.
Like when you
I think
see
he was
like
trying
stuff
to avoid
like
casualties. In
I play
Hell's
like
Kitchen,
old school
instead of clips for the
Wolfenstein,
troops,
like
he was
old
issuing
school
tear
Doom,
gas.
and like
Whatever
those
the
character
case,
models,
Now
just,
it's your turn.
they're flat
Got
based.
one more chance to
They're
retake
like
that shipment.
obviously this came
Has
out a
it been
little later
located?
than that.
Get any equipment you need from Carter.
It looks
then
pretty
take the
good
chopper
for a
back to the city.
2000.
We know they plan to
Yeah.
put the
2000,
Ambrosia
right?
on
It
a
looks pretty
plane.
good for that as far as
We
the
don't know
character models
which
go.
airfield.
Where should I start?
That's
But
a
at the
bad
same
camera
time,
angle.
I want to see what the original
I'd be
version
moving
was
it
like
through
too.
the subways, the abandoned parts of the infrastructure.
I'll check out the subways.
Yeah, I mean the original
I
version
have
looks
been
decidedly
waiting
worse.
for 20 minutes.
Sorry, Anna. What is it?
Anna.
That
I would
flag
like
looks
to
good
be
though.
reassigned to Agent Herman.
Why? Is
Good looking
Agent
flag
Clinton-
right there.
He completed his objective,
That
but
flag has all the
our
polygons.
tactics are
seen.
incompatible.
Can I? I'm sure I can, but he would probably scold me for sneaking into his. Can I use the bathroom? He's eating chocolate in the bathroom.
That's disgusting.
Gross.
That's very disgusting.
What the hell are you doing, Joseph?
And then he keeps his candy bar in the back.
Yeah, right. He stores them there.
Not on his desk, like not in a drawer on the counter.
Oh goodness.
Let's not be hasty. He will improve. Our pilot Jock is waiting for you at the helipad.
All right.
You
I'll
have
go
your
meet Jock.
orders from Mr. Mander.
Hello.
Good luck, JC.
Thank you, Janice. Okay, where am I going? Upstairs to the pilot.
Still haven't had a chance to clean my gun.
Oh, so it's been a while. What have I missed in the world of gaming?
turns out a little better.
Well, in the world of gaming, we've had a big, past 2 weeks in terms of like, news items and everything.
Yeah.
For me personally, this has come in my life.
What is that? I can't see.
Your chopper's ready.
Can't see it.
It's
Oh, you have your
I
camera.
only have the game up because I only
have
have one
in my
monitor right now.
hand a Steam Deck.
Oh, yeah. I thought I heard you playing Portal earlier.
They told us to hang
I
tight.
was.
Ah.
So I've had this in my life for about 2 days now. And I can already see my gaming life is completely just morphed. Because I have a pretty fairly sized backlog, which was exasperated when me and my friends combined our Steam libraries.
Oh.
So
Yeah. That'll do
I
it.
literally looked at that Steam library and I'm like, I'm not about to sit here and play 700 plus games on my
Right.
computer. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
But getting this thing and seeing exactly how powerful it is and what I can do on it, it's a game changer for me. Like this is something. It's because I didn't realize that it's basically a portable PC.
Right.
I thought it would be more game system than PC, but no, it's a PC. To the point where you literally just have Linux on here, and the way it like putting emulators on is so easy. It feels like it feels like it shouldn't exist.
Right.
It feels like something that no other company but Valve could have made.
Yeah.
Because no
Yeah,
other
I saw there's already a
company
Vita
would
emulator for it, which is awesome.
I didn't know this Vita.
Let's go.
You got my mind working on that. I might have to check that out. But
Vita's already like the best emulation system.
So I've been doing a lot of GameCube.
Oh yeah.
So I've been streaming a lot of GameCube, and
Nice.
that and really also I'm trying to get the Wii U going as well, because that's the one system that I've never
That's tough.
really
Yeah.
delved deep in.
Is there a good Wii U emulator?
Yeah, C-Move. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good one. So I plan on, as soon as I get a good Breath of the Wild, I'm gonna get a Breath of the Wild on here.
Ooh.
But even suffice that to say, like I feel like emulators would be the easiest thing for this thing to do.
Sure.
What
think
really
we scared 'em
impresses me about this system is the AAA games you can play.
Except for that
Yeah.
one barrel of ambrosia.
Because
No sign of the ship.
I got
Don't tell
Cyber. I've
Navarra.
been getting back into
We let
Cyber
some of the bums back into the park.
because I've been watching the
don't
anime,
anyway.
and that anime.
Oh,
just
how is it?
sidebar, very good.
Really? Okay, sweet. I'm gonna watch it then.
And I'm very picky with my anime. Like, it's,
Yeah.
It is a.
As the
very
Duke of anime, you must be.
Yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah.
Can't just watch every anime because
No.
there's a lot of trash anime. But
Oh,
this is
yes,
not
there
one
is.
of those. This is Trigger is Trigger Studios.
No, I don't.
I saw you
Trigger has
earlier.
made Kill la Kill.
You're the guy they sent
Okay.
to the subway.
Dark-
Yeah,
Darling
Kill la
in
Kill is
France.
super stylish, isn't it?
Yeah, and so this anime is made by the same people
Okay.
as Kill la Kill, so you can kind of see how that style is.
Yeah.
What captures me is they took all the things that like are really unexplained in Cyberpunk. Like what is a net runner?
Sure.
What is a street kid? Like what's a corpo? Like all these things are kind of explained in Cyberpunk. If you delve deep into the lore, delve deep into like the audio logs and everything, like having it in an anime format is really cool. So highly recommend it. It's
Nice.
easily one of the best like video game. I won't even call it an adaptation, but like a lot of times you get extra media from video games. A lot of times it's not good.
Yeah.
This is on the other side of that. This is arcane good. But so suffice that to say, it's gotten me wanting to play Cyberpunk again. So I'm doing a new playthrough on PC, and it runs beautifully on stream.
Does it really?
It doesn't run at 60. It runs at 30 frames per second,
Sure.
but it looks incredible. I'm not getting any slowdown. It's a very good port of it. And matter of fact, it's not even a port because the Steam Deck doesn't even work on ports. It's just a PC.
Yeah, right. It's just the PC version, which is why it's good.
Right. And so it's
PC
and I've been playing on PC with ultra settings and everything.
It's yours, got away.
Obviously, it's not going to compete with that.
But you can send your save back and forth with the cloud save, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the game.
nice.
That's the big game changer.
Yeah. When you want to sit down, you can sit down. When you want to go, you can go. That's pretty dope. Yeah, I mean, it's like the promise of the Switch, but you can actually play modern games.
And I will say, like, this is not going to replace the Switch for me because I do still love my Switch.
Sure.
But getting the Steam Deck, playing it for over 2 days, I'm starting to see more of, okay, this isn't a Switch competitor. Like, it seems like it would be from the marketing, from all, like, everybody hyping it, but it really is, like, an enthusiast product. While the Switch, like, there's certain things the Switch does that I would say is better. Like, for example, like, if I'm trying to do a multiplayer, like, Mario Kart game,
Sure.
I could theoretically do that on my Steam Deck. but I got to set up all the controllers manually. I got to get the emulator running. Meanwhile with the Switch, everybody gets a Joy-Con and it's plug and play essentially.
Right. And yeah, Nintendo cares a lot more about that catch co-op kind of experience.
Right. And so, like, it's not supposed to compete with the Switch, but I'm happy out with this is it's a very great, and just the PC in general. Like, I was you can stream 4K on it. So if I attach it to a monitor, like I was at a friend's house and we were trying to watch Lord of the Rings, and I was like, let's just try on the Steam Deck and plug it up. I have a USB.
Yeah.
You just use a USB dongle with it.
Okay.
And then you attach HDMI to the TV, and it streams.
So it doesn't have an HDMI attachment. It comes with a USB dongle, or you have to buy one.
So I just own a lot of USB dongles.
Okay, gotcha.
Because that's me from my Mac days.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to buy that separately. It doesn't come with that, but it does come with a pretty fucking nice case. Which I don't remember any console shipping, or a portable console ever shipping with a case before.
Yeah. I guess if you spend, I don't know, what is it, $500 on it?
Yeah,
then,
I got the middle one.
Okay.
Because shout out to anybody who has the smallest one, because I don't know how I couldn't do that one.
Yeah, how many gigs is that? It's like 120 or something?
No, it's 64.
Oof. I don't know. Yeah, what?
Now you can put the micro SD card, which I have. I put a terabyte micro SD card in it, so it's
Okay.
that you could do that, but also
Still,
like it doesn't have an SSD in it. It has like a
That's right. Yeah. Right.
So that just didn't seem like it's $180 to get the middle one compared to that one, but I feel like that $180 is going a long way.
Yeah, that's worth it. I totally agree.
So yeah, I thought about because I got my reservation. They said, "Oh, you're ready. You have 2 days to make your decision whether you want it or not." And I was like,
Thanks again for the key.
"Oh no!"
It wasn't a
like,
favor.
I'm
A real
glad I
patriot.
pulled the trigger.
I see it like this.
Yeah.
It all balances out.
I can't wait to run Elden Ring
just
on
as
it.
much gun freaks
Doing
as
my
the
second
malicious.
Elden Ring
If
run.
everybody's gonna shoot it out, fine. So long as neither side.
And I might
wins
run
and takes
Deus
over the
Ex.
whole
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you can see. I wonder if it's got any like kind of controller support or anything like that. Deus Ex is a pretty PC-centric game, but it did get ported to consoles long ago. There was a PS2 version, that kind of thing.
I remember I had a cousin who used to play like a lot of immersive sims.
Yeah.
And I know he played this on PS2, so that sounds about right.
I don't know if the PS2 version's any good, but you wouldn't be playing the PS2 version. You'd be playing the PC version with controllers. So I have to imagine there's some good mod for that.
Well, the thing is,
no.
like, controller mapping on the Steam Deck is so nice.
Really?
Like, it's so seamless. Because a lot of times, like, it will automatically search Steam for the best controller layout first, and then if it doesn't find anything, then it will go to the community uploads and automatically load the highest rated community upload setup. But still, this is probably a game you want to play with mouse and keyboard, I imagine.
Yeah, I would recommend mouse and keyboard.
And that's another thing. You can use mouse and keyboard because it's a laptop. So you just plug the USB dongle in.
True. You
plug it up to a monitor, and you plug your mouse and keyboard in and play it. It's a PC. I'm actually this is on Steam, right?
Yeah.
I might
That's how I'm playing it right now.
check this out.
Okay, I don't have any more multi-tools with which to hack. Can I equip this?
I put something in the Discord. Did you see that PlayStation VR 2 is not backwards compatible?
Yes.
I think that's the death knell for that thing, honestly. Like, I don't think that is a horrible decision.
Yeah. To me, it's like it's simultaneously completely understandable in my mind and totally unacceptable.
It's like if you had told if I was in the board meeting and they said it would be impossible to do backwards compatible, I would be like, should we rethink doing this thing in general? Like at that moment, before we even started development, I would have to ask that question.
Yeah.
because I feel like the people who were really excited for this are the people who already have PlayStation VR.
We made a sweep of the area. No sign of the NSA.
And you're telling those people like, yeah, you need to play those games you love. You need to keep that other unit unless you want to buy the upgraded version. 'Cause I'm sure there's going to be an Astro's, like, what is it, Astrobot Rescue Mission. I'm sure there's going to be a
We've
PlayStation
got
2
the secret
version of
passage
it,
sealed up, sir.
Yeah.
but it's going to be money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, so the reason that I say that this is completely understandable is because there are
If you want eyewitnesses, I'd say check
Hardware-
the subway or the shantytown.
issues between. I don't know where I'm going. I'm literally just wandering around looking for a easy way into this place.
I would say it's dark as shit.
Yeah. So the reason that I say it's totally understandable is because of the hardware differences between the first gen PSVR and the second gen PSVR. Not only the camera, but
shot up a few minutes ago.
the controllers, namely. So implicit backwards compatibility means that Sony has to themselves port the controls over from the previous version, which is it's too much to do, with all those games.
It's too much of a time and money investment to do.
Yeah, but also there are creative decisions implicit in reworking these control schemes. The aim control, what are they called? The move wands.
Move wands, yeah.
Yeah, the move wands have like double the buttons that these new controllers are gonna have,
Right.
and no analog sticks. So where do you remap buttons? Like, how do you remap certain actions? These are developer level decisions that Sony can't be making.
And it'd probably be even harder on the VR software than it would be even just for a regular, like let's say if it was like you're porting just a regular flat game.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure if it's VR, it's even harder to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of gestural controls that are mixed into the button controls, right? So I mean, like when we were working on Saints and Sinners, we started on the we started with the Oculus version and the Vive version, like the PC versions. But even that was there's on the Vive controllers, the original Vive controllers. There's no analog sticks.
Right.
Yeah. So even then, we had to answer the question of like, okay, how do you locomote? How do you go forward, backward, all this kind of stuff? But it's even worse on PSVR because of the Move controllers. So
I never thought of it from that perspective. I'm glad I asked you because that's actually a very valid reason. Because I was wondering why wouldn't you do backwards compatibility? But yeah, from the back end side, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like programming all of that, programming it from something with no analog sticks to
I mean, like,
that seems like a lot.
Yeah, it would be one thing if it was just the no analog sticks, right? Like that seems like a hurdle that you could maybe surmount as Sony.
Other things, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but it's like it's the no analog sticks plus there's a totally different button scheme on these new controllers than there was on the aim controller. So like we made full use of all of the different buttons on the aim controller. A lot of them are used as replacements for the analog sticks, where like some of the buttons are used to rotate left and right. Some of the buttons are used to locomote back and forward. Okay, so I'm just back here now. What the hell am I supposed to be doing? I have to be able to climb over. And so yeah, like, and like Skyrim VR kind of set this precedent for aim controls, where they basically turned one of the aim controllers into motion-wise an analog stick when you're holding down a certain button. So like you hold down a certain button that says I want to locomote, and then your gestural movement determines where you are turning. So you have camera control in that way.
You'll be the first to know if we find anything.
So a lot of PSVR 1 games that have free locomotion use that kind of control scheme. We decided to kind of do the same thing on Saints and Sinners because it was an already established paradigm that a lot of people had
Check the
played.
shantytown.
Right.
You're telling me to check the shantytown, and there's all sorts of passageways there, but I can't.
I forgot how obtuse these games can be.
Yeah, they can be. They definitely can.
I totally forgot. But yeah.
Nothing to report, Agent.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I just from like me, just because I feel like my initial thought is the thought that most people are gonna have of like, yo, that's bullshit. Like that's a crazy thing that I feel should have been said way earlier.
Yep.
To kind of get on top of it.
Yeah. The reason that I think it's totally unacceptable, like you, is that the VR is already so niche, right? You're trying to lure people in to giving this thing a shot in the first place. One good way to have some sort of leg up there is to have an established back catalog of games that people would recommend to one another. You know, that people have played before, that they have some experience with. And PSVR has a good library of games. Maybe none of them on their own are the thing that's going to get really VR skeptical people into VR. But the whole catalog, in addition to the new games that are coming, is a pretty good argument.
I would argue they probably have the best amount of exclusive VR titles.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, you have Iron Man VR, which is, I think, what I played of that I really liked. What I played of Astro's Rescue Mission, Astrobot, is maybe the best VR game ever. Like, it definitely, if you're talking about best VR games ever, you got to mention that. Until Dawn of Rush of Blood, I really like that. Like, they have a good amount of games that are exclusive to this system. Is Doom still?
I don't know if Doom is exclusive.
Ambrosia onto a plane.
I remember I think I wanted to play that on Oculus, but I don't think it's on Oculus.
I don't know who else it could be.
I'm sure I can find a way to bring my PC.
Since when is LaGuardia for sale?
I know that was
City
exclusive to
Etsy
PlayStation VR for a bit.
There's always a... Who does he buy off?
Sorry, I was reading this one.
How about that phone call?
You're good. But, yeah, it just seems like...
I'm not
and the thing
interested.
is, I know they're going to sell... They're going to have Astrobot Rescue Mission on PlayStation VR 2. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of how much it's going to be. I think the only way to make it right is if you give free upgrades for the PlayStation VR 2 version to those who are already on it. I feel like that's the only way to make this right.
Yeah.
That's the only... Like, to me, if you want to have a different SKU for it, for PlayStation VR 2, like, that's fine. But for the people who've already bought the game, that's messed up.
Yeah.
I hope that they do something of that nature. But I don't know. I think it begs the bigger question. Just my opinion.
Found me too.
Sounds like you serve God.
Not dying, but is it like... Is it plateauing?
I'll check.
I don't know. I think, for one, I'm not sure how much backwards compatibility is really going to matter, and Sony has to know this too.
For sure.
How much, backwards compatibility is a minor selling point of their new service, their new subscription service. But it's never been a focus for them, and so we see that represented.
They begrudgingly do it. Yeah, you're right about that. They begrudgingly do it because they feel
and
like
they have to know that's because doing it that way doesn't really hurt them very much. And even though people like us care about backwards compatibility, because I've got many games for PSVR that I would love to be able to play on PSVR 2. Love to know that I'm going to be able to play without having to wait for developers to update them, which I assume will happen. I assume there will be PS5 upgrades, just like there are for PS4 games. But the fact that you can play the PS4 games on PS5 without needing the upgrades is a big difference maker, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, like we talked about this, basically the whole first year until like Deathloop came out, pretty much. We were talking about the PSVR or the PS5 as the PlayStation Pro,
Yeah.
It didn't distinguish itself as a console that you needed to have in its first year because of any of the games that had come out. Maybe Returnal, I mean, but even still, it's like,
I think Ratchet and Clank was the first game that like you need to own a PS5 to at least see how good this game looks. You know, that was probably the first one. But besides that, yeah, it was the PlayStation 4 Pro.
yeah,
But Sony, as far as them not porting but allowing backwards compatibility for PlayStation 4 games, like they knew that was a necessity. And they know that, and that was probably a way lesser like cost than what it's going to take to make PlayStation VR 2 compatible PlayStation VR 1 games. Like, that has to be an expensive prospect to do. It's not, because I feel like nothing's impossible. Like absolutely nothing is impossible in that regard. It's just a matter of how much work it's going to cost and whether it makes sense from a cost, standpoint to do it.
yeah. I mean, the reason that it's just a big problem is because PlayStation's biggest competitor in the space, which is Meta, is I think getting this right in that they're trying to make all the games accessible on all the platforms as much as possible, right? And there was no promise that you were going to be able to play your Oculus Rift games on your Quest. However, you can use your Quest as a Rift if you have a PC, so everything is backwards compatible in that way. And all the games that are, I mean, you can tell me because you have a Quest, but are there any Quest 2 only games, or is Quest 2 just get upgrades over the original Quest?
As far as I know, there are no games you can't load up on a Quest 1. Like, as far as I know. Just from my standpoint, though, and I love my Oculus. I've had it for about a year and maybe a half. Like, I've had it for a little while, and I enjoyed it. But there is a different standard when it comes to gaming on like PlayStation. And you can tell with some of the PlayStation VR games that quality standard still stands. As far as like AAA games, I know Nintendo is technically number one, but PlayStation makes the best exclusive games from like the highest end AAA standpoint. Just exclusive.
I can think of safer
and
places to
I
camp.
feel like that applies to their VR
Cop
games.
said I could be here.
Like when
Why
you
the
think
name?
about
They call
Astrobot
us
Rescue
that because we
Mission,
live
like
underground.
what I played of
You
that
should join your
game, that's
people.
probably one of the best
Anywhere.
VR games.
The moles need someone top
Just from a
side.
quality standpoint,
Besides,
there's
they're pretty
nothing on
quiet.
Oculus
The NSF,
Quest that's
right?
even
Yeah, they haven't
close
hurt
to it.
anybody.
I need to contact the NSF. Think you can
Even
Sure.
something like
Just give me the
Iron Man
password so I know they
VR,
trust
like,
you.
that is, there's a
Underworld.
quality standard
As
there
long as they decided to
that
give
I
you
don't
access.
think if
Go
you
to the
look
phone
through the
booth in the
Quest
subway.
store,
Thanks.
it reminds me more of the iPhone store than the PlayStation
Plenty of
store.
room around the fire.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean,
And that's,
so
that's
PlayStation's
Facebook's problem. Like that's
Sure.
that's their biggest Achilles heel to me.
Yeah.
Where as a gamer, I see the cracks in this.
Yeah, I mean, I think PlayStation has a really big quality control issue that they need to surmount as well.
A young soldier.
Okay, I already talked.
I'll check out.
You mean on
Just
the
in these
PlayStation store?
platinum bait games that are coming out constantly.
You know, just the store in general.
Yeah,
Oh,
not VR in particular.
Gotcha.
Though
I think every single gaming company with the storefront has this problem.
yeah,
I think we are seeing a mass amount of games coming out that are shit. More so than I feel like any point in history.
did I fuck up?
What happened?
No.
Oh no.
I should have been in that. Okay, whatever. No biggie. That's good design. Even when you fuck up, you can still just jump right down. No problem.
Good design 21 or 22 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think VR in general has this kind of issue where still there are not very many games that are like big, meaty kind of experiences that you would expect from like a $60, $70 game.
Well, I think the problem is we haven't I feel like the biggest developers that have made VR games, I can name 3 off the top of my head: Rocksteady, Insomniac, and Valve.
Some of them, the so-called
The three biggest ones.
In terms of like companies that make, make critically acclaimed video games,
Sure.
have tried their hand at VR.
Yeah, I'd say Rockstar too.
What did Rockstar make?
Well, so Rockstar themselves did not make it, but LA Noire VR. And then they purchased the studio that made LA Noire VR, and I think that same studio is making the conversion of
GTA 5?
GTA San Andreas. That's coming to Quest, right?
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
I hope
that's
that's good.
technically a part of Rockstar, so I mean,
Right.
I didn't know, I forgot about that LA Noire VR version. I have to try that out. But
Maybe later.
yeah, I mean, I guess you can throw Rockstar in there too. But I know Insomniac has done. They did that VR game. I never played it, but I heard good things about that. Rocksteady made that Arkham game, which I thought was a really.
I spill my drink.
I still love Arkham VR to this day. And whatchamacallit, who's the first guy I said?
I spill my drink.
Rocksteady, we said Rockstar, we said Insomniac.
Valve.
Valve,
Yeah.
thank you. And Valve has probably the best game on the list, which is Half-Life Alyx.
Yep.
And I would imagine they probably didn't make a profit on that game. That was probably like a passion project, it seemed.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, it was to sell their hardware,
Right.
which I think it did effectively, and I would not doubt that it would be possible for them to make a profit with the numbers that they sold. I mean, they didn't sell tons of units of the Index, but I don't think they were selling at a loss. I don't know. I don't have any like particular insight into that, but
yeah, I mean,
and Valve doesn't tend to talk about their hardware numbers very much.
Right, but I was just saying, just from like, if you look at the cost of probably how much Half-Life Alyx costs to make, just in a vacuum, without even like putting the Index with it, I would say that game, if I were to guess, it probably wasn't profitable.
I don't think the dev team on Alyx was that big. They worked for a long time on it, but I don't think it was a particularly big subset of Valve. Like maybe it got bigger as the game gained steam. Mm-hmm. But if I recall correctly, I'm pulling this out of my butt a little bit, but I recall seeing
Sometimes you got to.
some interview where they were like, the core dev team was like 70 people or whatever.
Oh, that's wow.
Oh, hello.
Oh shit, he scared me.
Yeah.
But
Whoa, what the hell?
Leave me alone.
Is that a kid?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a kid.
That's the scariest kid I've ever seen in a video game in
You
my
are
life.
disgusting.
Jeez, he's like the same color as the toilet
You're supposed to
bowl.
use the secret passage and leave us alone.
You're supposed to use the secret passage. Where's the secret passage?
Man, it stinks in here.
Well, it's the bathroom.
Man, it stinks in here.
Oh my god.
Great voice acting there.
Lenny, you have a name.
Get out. I got a bomb.
A bomb's a bad choice for close-range combat.
Might as well
Realer
use
words
it.
have never been
Rock
spoken.
says I owe him.
Yeah, right.
He won't even give me one vial for it.
What kind of bomb?
If you've played
I think they
have
said
you
it
ever
was
played
called,
Half-Life Alyx?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I played it
Suppose-
recently about
Yeah.
a couple months
Take it,
ago,
man.
and
Hope it lasts.
that did not feel like a small game at all. It felt like that probably was the most immersive VR game I've ever played. Besides Saints and Sinners.
You gotta say it.
Gotta say. Play Saints and Sinners, everybody.
You know
But
I can't with
yeah,
them.
Half-Life
Trust me,
Alyx,
they're
that was
I
an
don't need a place to camp.
experience. Like
I
to
started
this
the
day,
more
like, I played a lot of
people.
great games this year.
How do I
That's
find them?
probably the most
Don't
impressive
bother.
game I played all year.
They're elitist.
And there is not any VR game on, PC VR that I feel is even close as far as from an immersion standpoint.
Yeah.
But that's coming from Valve, and I feel like you need to have the big players of the industry making games for VR for
Yep.
this to work, at least from a gaming standpoint.
The doctor's
Yeah,
in that clinic.
we have yet to see what PlayStation's full plans are for their VR output. My
Is Gorilla
understanding
making the Horizon game? Do you know?
no, Gorilla's in an advisory kind of capacity on the new Horizon game. The studio, what are they called? They made the Persistence, and they were just purchased by Sony fairly recently.
Didn't Gorilla make didn't they made a VR game too?
They
Didn't
did. They made Rigs, Gorilla
Rigs.
Cambridge, but
the only game that ever made me throw up in VR. Yes. Rigs.
Yeah, it was a little pukey. Yeah, they made Rigs, but that was Gorilla Cambridge, and Gorilla Cambridge has since been shuttered.
Yes. Yeah,
what are they called? It's Fire Sprite. Fire Sprite, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Yeah, I just feel that
territory
we need to see the best developers making VR games. Like that's what's really going to change things.
What Sony has said, I think I can't remember if this was in some sort of like presentation they did. I think it was like an investor presentation they did or something like that, where they were talking about focusing their efforts on getting.
Just take it easy, bro. Be cool.
Okay, cool.
Wait, who's the gang member?
Yeah, I'm on Rook's territory. He said.
That was funny.
Hold on, bro. Just take it easy.
Be cool.
Be cool. All right, I'll be cool, man. Can I?
If the gang member tells you to be cool, you got to be cool.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, they're gonna shoot first and ask questions later.
You better be cool, or else we're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, they said they were going to focus in a lot of their publishing or second party efforts and just a lot of their in general efforts trying to court developers to make games PSVR compatible, to have some section of an existing game for PS5 be playable on PSVR or in its entirety be playable on PSVR.
I do remember hearing that quote.
Yeah, I think the model for that is Resident Evil 7, which is another one of the biggest, most high profile VR games.
That's PlayStation. That's another PSVR exclusive.
It
right?
is. Yeah, it's still PSVR exclusive.
And Resident Evil 8 is going to be PlayStation VR exclusive too.
That's right. I do have some kind of qualms with that. Hello, Rook. Should we talk to Rook first before I tell you my qualms?
Hey, bro, what's with the get up?
I'm from out of town. I hear the NSF are operating around here somewhere. Know anything about it?
I guess I seen them, but that's it. You a militia type? I can hook you up with some explosives.
How much?
Whoa. We ain't talking firecrackers, understand? What I got, it comes from a guy at UNATCO. Hardcore munitions and shit.
How much?
I got a lamb. You know what that is? $750.
Pretty steep for secondhand goods.
Either that or you work for it. You into fighting? I need someone to take care of the dealer downstairs.
I'll take him out.
Yeah, I'll take out the drug dealer.
Dealer's name's Rock. He hangs out on the east side in the corner.
Do I have to actually kill him, or can I just take him out? So yeah, my qualms with that are that while Resident Evil 7, I played through Resident Evil 7 in VR in its entirety, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. It was also a bit of a pukey experience, but it's not really. There are some concessions that
I'm a classic example of
are the result of it not being a VR first experience that make it much less compelling than a VR first
Nurse
experience.
knew I was sick. She just don't care.
This is the women's restroom, but I will go in here anyway because I want to find the secret passage.
Hopefully, you don't find another kid.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously. It stinks in here too. Like the fact that you don't have actual free use of your hands in Resident Evil 7. That's a big sticking point for me, especially at this point in VR. I think we kind of need better than that if the medium is going to move forward. We can't just have
Talk to Charlie.
ports of flat games. Even
there
though Resident Evil 7 is good.
There needs to be a standard. And I feel like that standard does not currently exist. I feel like every time I load up a VR game, it's a toss-up of what it's going to be as far as controls go, especially with hand tracking and everything. Like you never know.
And the hand tracking is so important for presence.
Rock's the name, guy.
Now, some games, I mean,
gang.
like what's that game? Trover saves the universe. Like I like games like that because it doesn't you like with something like that you don't really need to worry about that.
Oh sure.
Because you're basically like controlling Trover almost like in this god mode kind of thing where you're like above him or you're like you're not like you're not actively like using your hands or anything like that. I think there's definitely a place for VR games like that.
I ain't going.
Let's try some
But
association.
as far as like first person games like Resident Evil 7, like I feel like hand tracking is
That's right, man. Step
at
up.
this point.
Shit.
Oh, shoot first ask questions later.
I'm the one shooting first asking
Oh
questions.
no.
I hit him with my I hit him with my cattle prod.
That was one of the funniest death animations I've ever seen.
He's unconscious. I can
Oh, good for him. That's good. But he was like, you could tell he was electrocuting, but since it's 2000, it's like, it just had him shaking around a little bit. Oh, man. That's great.
So they said, the drug dealer said that these guys aren't even a real gang. They're just a bunch of junkies, and this dude found a box of lambs, which are explosive devices that UNATCO uses, the military organization that I work for. I guess that's back here, probably. And so he started acting all tough when he found the lambs.
Yeah, you're not a real gangster. You just found
yeah, exactly. He's not. He's a poser. I guess that's why they wanted me to take out the drug dealer, because they want to. Yeah, some sort of.
Only real drug dealers out here. That's what they're saying.
I think they just want his shit.
No one up here is looking for a fight.
And this is supposed to be New York, right?
Those lambs gone. Yeah, this is New York.
Yeah.
So are these the lambs? The lambs in here? Oh, soy food. No.
Soy food.
Soy. Can't be doing it. Bam.
Hey.
Hey, Don.
Then he looks like Lenny.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Got any time?
Yes, he does. I hear someone found a box of lambs down here.
I hear someone found a box of lambs down here.
Grenades? Oh, yeah, but they're all gone now.
Where'd they go?
A lot of people took them, but not me.
I will say
late.
his character model looks a lot different
Anyone
than the
still have
Mankind
one?
Divided character
Yeah,
model.
with
Like,
my friend
to the
Libby.
point where it almost
She
like a
got
different character.
sick.
Oh, it is
I
a
don't
different
know
character.
where
You don't
he
play as
Oh,
him.
it is.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it is.
I think most people sold them to the NSF.
Mankind Divided
but
and
not me.
Human Revolution are
That's
prequels
why
to
I'm
this game.
broke. You gotta help me get
Wow.
some time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Rock's all high
Okay.
and mighty now that
So it's
there's
like I'll be
money going
playing
around.
the sequel technically to the games.
Yeah, right.
I've-
Well,
Oh,
now maybe you can calm down for a second and tell me how to get to the mopey.
yeah, sure.
And
The keypad's under the sink.
The sink in the women's bathroom. Everyone knows
The
that.
code.
Okay.
Got me. The mole people keep me out because they don't.
Okay. Now I just need the code. Goodness gracious. You gotta talk to everybody in this game. I haven't been doing this. You gotta talk to everybody.
Be straight with El Rey. He be straight with you. Back off.
El Rey runs the show.
Okay.
Ben, what is the status on you
You ain't
ever
all
getting
that.
an Oculus Quest?
I still want to get PSVR 2 just because I'm hard into the Sony ecosystem at this point. But yeah, the backwards compatibility thing kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth. Although I have a feeling, I have a strong suspicion that many developers will be motivated to port their things to the new system as quickly as possible, because that's just kind of the rule with VR development in general. You want your thing on as many platforms as you can get it, because each platform's install base is so small. You want to broaden your audience as much as possible.
Are you talking Freeport? Or are you talking?
Yeah, that's a question. I think that's gonna come down to the developer. I can say like First Guidance Interactive. We did a lot of like free updates and stuff to Saints and Sinners. So I have to kind of imagine that if you already own Saints and Sinners on PSVR, and this is not me saying anything, I haven't worked there in years at this point, but I have to kind of imagine a studio like that would put out a free port versus Rockstar. You're probably not going to get a free LA Noire VR.
I'll go to bat
Upgrade.
right now.
Yeah.
You are not getting a free port of LA
Right.
Noire. This is Rockstar talking about. So yeah, but that makes sense. Do you? I mean,
I used as much
they're
force as
promoting
situation.
Saints and Sinners. That's been at their conferences. Like,
hit.
it wouldn't
That's right.
surprise me
Yeah, that's
if
right.
they charge for that.
Away for months. Now I got the whole station.
Yeah, well, the thing that's like that complicates it a little bit is that there's the sequel is coming out. Chapter 2 for Saints and Sinners is coming out on PSVR 2. And in the blog post, they said that was going to be like Q1 of 2023. Because the
Q1?
Yeah, Q1 of 2023.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that must be like the release, probably the release window of the PSVR 2, somewhere in there. And actually, didn't another one of the games that they showed at the State of Play also had like a Q1 date or something like that, or
check.
release window.
At this point, we should know Horizons.
That's why I look like this.
At least like when it's estimated, right? Let me see. I'm looking at it now.
Better. Much better.
Oh man, I typed in Horizon VR game and it brought me to the Oculus
The only thing
game.
about staying up here is the rules. One time I was drunk
Forgot
and fell
that was a
asleep and
thing.
they put me on the train tracks.
Facebook Horizon.
So
They shouldn't
currently
give me
that doesn't have a date.
disability. It's my right.
Hello there. Well, I don't have the multi-tools for this. What is the code? It's secure. Okay.
So yeah, right now it's expected to arrive early 2023.
Yeah.
And I assume like even because I anticipate it's going to get delayed. But I think Saints and Sinners is not bound to that because Saints and Sinners is going to sell the most copies on Oculus.
Yeah, probably.
So I don't think that they're really tied to what PlayStation VR is doing. I'm sure the PlayStation VR version is going to look the best.
They actually said they said that the PSVR 1 version of Chapter 2 was going to be end of this year.
Okay. Oh,
so,
really? So
yeah, I think they said the PSVR 1 version would be out Q4 of this year, and the PSVR 2 version would be out Q1 of next year. I'm almost positive that was what they said in the blog post.
I'm excited to get into this.
I hear the NSF are using the
movie.
mobile.
I wonder when it's coming to
for
Oculus.
UNATCO. Well, the NSF come through.
I assume around the same time PlayStation VR 1.
Oh yeah,
The city
yeah,
don't know we
yeah.
got
It'll be the
water
end of the
and
year.
they don't
I
need to know.
almost guarantee it.
I would open the valve myself, but there was a cave-in. Utility doors blocked. It's
Yeah,
up
I
at the
see it
north
right-
end of the
right-
tracks
right
in
here.
case you
It
want to
says
take
it'll
a
be
clear
out
tunnel.
Fourth
It
quarter.
could be done.
But it doesn't have a date on it,
Land
does
would
it?
do the trick.
Yeah, it doesn't have a date. On Steam, it doesn't. Which is kind of crazy. We're towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I feel like that might get delayed too. That's a possibility. It is delay season.
Yeah, it's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, if you don't have a date at this point, we have 3 months left in the year. Yeah,
right.
It's not looking good for that. But
oh, hello there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel real negative about it, just from the standpoint of I want PlayStation VR 2 to do well, and at this moment in time, I do not have a good feeling about it releasing.
You want
Really?
time?
You just
Talk
think
to
it's
the
going
guy
to
in
be
the corner. His name's
Not in
Ron.
terms of, I feel like if I
Right.
bought it per se, I feel like I'd have a good time with it, but I'm not encouraged to just buy it like day one. Like, I don't think I will buy it day one. I think I'm going to wait a little bit. But at the same time, if I don't buy it day one, I'm probably not going to get it for probably a year, because I assume it's going to be like how every other device is, where if you don't get your pre-order in, you're going to be dealing with, PlayStation trying to restock for the next year.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not that bad. I think for me the price is the
Government
real
lets
contingent
people
factor.
get poor, and they
Did they
wonder
announce
why
the price?
someone jacks their
No,
Mercedes.
they haven't.
which is bad news. It's probably gonna be bad news when we see what the pricing is for it. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like it's gonna have to be priced high because Oculus is now at minimum $399.
Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, like, it's kind of apples and oranges, and this is a place where
We're gonna be special forces for the NF.
Hey, cut it out!
Okay, I really need the code for this freaking place. I've been walking around in circles. It's kind of apples and oranges in that
You can stick around, long as you have legitimate business.
Quest has, like, you know, processing power. It's got a mobile chipset inside. The PSVR 2 doesn't need to have any of that because all of its processing capability is in the PS5. So it's really just a display.
Do you think they were selling
cameras.
the Oculus at such a loss that this was super necessary? Because that's been my running theory. I haven't found any sources to correlate that. But I assume, because the pricing on the Oculus Quest was so insane that I always assumed they were taking, since it's Facebook and they're a $1 trillion company or whatever they're worth, that they were just taking a loss on each unit. And at some point, they had to not do that anymore.
Right.
That's been my assumption, because the price, like $300 for that thing, felt like a steal. And so maybe, would you say $400 for PlayStation VR 2? Do you think that's probably the sweet spot?
Nurse knew I was sick.
I think so, probably. I would hope for. I mean, if they could get it down to 300, I think that would be a serious competitive advantage. But
how much was PlayStation VR 1? You remember?
It was 400.
I said I
It was
don't have
400?
the money.
Yeah.
300 would be incredible. Like, if it was $300, then okay, I'm in. Like, that's actually a pretty compelling price for it.
Yeah.
400 puts it in a weird spot where I'm like, I might get it, but I don't know. Part of me feels it might be $500. part of me feels they could charge $500 for it. And
I think 500 is a no-go for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a no-go unless they have a killer app, which could be PlayStation Home VR. If they do that, I think that you get a lot of people in.
Yeah, I would love if they had some sort of some built-in kind of social space like that. That would be a real big plus.
If they had PlayStation V, and this is never going to happen, of course, but if they did PlayStation VR but made it a multi-platform thing, like at least put it on, like, let's say PC VR.
Yeah.
That could be your killer app. But right now, with it releasing right now, I feel like if they release it, it's going to be a failure sales-wise. I just don't think the hype's there for it. I don't think there's the killer game out for it. I mean, Horizon looks good, but I'm assuming that's going to be like a 5-hour experience. It's not going to be something that you're going to be, you know, putting on your PlayStation VR headset to play, you know.
I hope that's a full game. I think they need to learn by now that there's a core audience there that wants full-fledged games, and that it's not enough for it to look pretty. I mean, I think if Half-Life Alyx didn't kind of prove that out, I don't know what will.
Half-Life Alyx wasn't even that long. Like it was
but it was a full game. I mean, it was a full.
Yeah, I felt like I got my $60 worth out of that. I mean, I paid $20, but I felt like I got theoretically my $60 worth out of that game.
Right.
So Half-Life Alyx was what, like I think 13 hours.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So 13-hour Horizon game. Okay, maybe it's that. Still, I don't think that's enough. Like as a kid to say it's a killer, it could be a killer app, you know. I think it could be a really good game. I think.
Yeah, I think that just has to be the start.
Yeah. Like PlayStation Home to me feels like it's a no-brainer. I thought that was supposed to go off.
Me too.
I was like waiting in anticipation. I quieted and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think PlayStation VR.
Oh, there we go. This is what I need to put the lamp on.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that PlayStation VR needs something to set it apart. Because, like, if it's just Horizon, why isn't somebody just going to buy an Oculus?
Yeah, I think it just, this Horizon game just has to be the start of some more AAA kind of support for VR, and I think their strategy, I mean, despite what I said about Resident Evil and the kind of like pitfalls of courting these games that are flat games too, I do think that is probably the winning strategy, to have games that exist on your ecosystem outside of VR, so that these developers can actually make some money, because the VR market is so small still. But developers can make money with large scale games that take a lot of investment. I think what I hope is that this Resident Evil 8 VR conversion, which is not exactly the same as the Resident Evil 7 one, because it's not a day one available kind of thing. It's coming out
almost 2 years after.
Yeah, almost 2 years after Resident Evil 8 was released.
Which can either be two things. One, it was an afterthought, or they're spending a lot of time to make this a very worthwhile experience.
Right. Yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to be the latter, because they've been working on the game in other ways too. Like they added like a third-person mode and stuff like that to the base game. So I'm hoping that they spent some time to really VRify the main game. I think that Hitman. Oh man, come on. Just jump. I think that Hitman VR is actually a pretty decent model of this, where there's like Hitman VR is one of the best VR games out right now, for sure.
Is that worth trying out?
Yeah, definitely. It's only it's on PC now. It's
yeah,
on PC.
I have access to it because
dude.
it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, you gotta. I think.
All right. That's a this week thing, because I've heard good things, but I haven't heard anybody actually say like, yeah, this is worth it. Okay, I'm gonna try it out.
Definitely check it out.
You said it's one of the best VR experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's just so much content there. It's 3 whole games worth of levels if you own all 3 games.
It's you get everything?
Yes. So
I thought it was just like a VR like set levels. You get the whole game in VR.
Yes, all of the main levels are playable in VR. Yeah.
I did not need to hear that. I just got my Steam Deck. Oh no, my time is gone. Oh God. Okay. Well, that's compelling. Is PlayStation VR 2 gonna get that? That's a question. Like,
I know that's one of the ones that I like really would love to play on PSVR 2, because the control scheme on PSVR 1 is pretty weird. I'm sure it's much better on PC, because there's actual analog sticks and all that shit. But yeah, that's one that I would absolutely love to play on PSVR 2. So I hope that I have a feeling that IO would port it.
They're busy.
Yeah, they did. They actually just put out a new Hitman 3 map for free.
I logged into Hitman 2 on Steam Deck, and they had updates. I'm like, what the hell? Like I was honestly taken aback. Like, you're still updating these games, and you're working on the 007 game too, and you are actively supporting this Hitman VR. I'm like, this is an underrated studio right here. They've been making games for a while, of course, but man, like, shouts out them. I really am going to try out a Hitman VR though. Glad you recommended it. But yeah, I think that has to be on PlayStation VR too. I'm surprised we haven't seen that at a conference.
Just take it easy, bro. Be cool. No one up here is looking for a fight.
Yeah, I think maybe Hitman is just not like.
Hey, thanks, dude.
Hitman 3 is kind of out of the limelight a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I started this. Like, I feel like VR is in a way plateauing.
You don't want to be nowhere near one of those
very
things.
disappointing.
You ain't all that.
Because I just don't think it's catching. I think that Oculus is, but it's not for the gaming. I don't think VR gaming is getting bigger. I think VR social is getting bigger. You can like watch an NBA or NFL game in VR. You can go to a concert in VR. You can do, alt space. You can do Horizon Worlds.
Sure.
But I'm looking on the Oculus store, and it is looking real dire as far as the games go. And that's, I can't really blame developers because developers have to make money. And, I feel like if it's not a passion project for a studio, like it's probably not profitable to really devote a lot of your resources to make a really tangible VR game.
Yeah, it's mostly not, and the only way that it really is if you are being paid by these, if you're being paid by Meta or if you're being paid by Sony to make stuff for the platform. So I mean, the only way to get
and
VR
one's not even
rolling,
a video game company.
The only way to get VR rolling is for these bigger companies that have this, especially Meta, have this kind of vocational mission to bootstrap it, to really put investment dollars into it.
Well, I have one solution that I don't understand why this is happening, but I don't know why Microsoft's entry into VR has been very weird.
Great.
And I feel like Microsoft is probably in the best position out of anybody to really capitalize on VR, and they
don't care. But they don't care.
No, but they do though, because I don't know if you were on. I had I went to a Statesdale, and they had a reverb, an HP reverb, and so I had gotten that, and I had tried out, PC VR just by itself without the Oculus,
right?
And the only thing you can load on there is Microsoft Mixed Reality. Like Microsoft Mixed, they have an entire program dedicated to VR, and it's actually a pretty tangible thing. Like as soon as I load it up, Cortana's talking to me.
Quiet.
It's my own little space. It honestly reminded me a lot of PlayStation VR, or I'm sorry, PlayStation Home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've invested all this, and I don't hear anything about this. Like no advertising, no anything. Nobody. I might have been the only person using Microsoft Mixed Reality that night. Because it seemed like there's nobody in the social circle or anything like that. Xbox doesn't support VR at all.
Yep.
It's like, and they make Altspace, which is one of the better, social programs on VR in general. And I'm like, I feel like Microsoft, as far as I know, Facebook has invested the most, but Microsoft's in such a perfect position to make a VR unit and really I feel like Sony.
That's why I say they don't care, because
that's
why I say they don't care is because they could if they wanted to. They could have a really viable competitor in the space if they wanted to, one that worked with Xbox and PC. If they really wanted to invest in there, and they could make a headset themselves, which they didn't. They just they licensed out whatever underlying tech for mixed reality to other hardware manufacturers like HP, and Samsung I think had one, and
HTC.
So HTC, so they don't really care. They don't really care enough.
But they do in a way. They don't care enough, but they care a little bit, and it's just so weird to me that they haven't even maybe they see the writing. And that the scary thing is maybe they see the writing on the wall.
Right.
That's the scary part to me. Matt Bliss in the chat said, sorry if I missed you before, Matt Bliss. How you doing today, sir? He says, what about the transitional experience for VR? A 60-hour VR game might be too much to expect from a standard gamer to enjoy.
Yeah.
And yeah, for sure. You can't, and well, I mean, Skyrim is on VR, which, a lot of people play. I've played it. It's pretty good. But you can't really expect that from both a development standpoint to make a game that's exclusive to VR that's like some 60, 70 hour RPG. You're probably going to get 10 people to buy it.
Right.
And that's the trade. Or you make it really good and you spend so much money that's going to be impossible for it to be profitable and you've lost money.
But what Matt's saying is, what about in the spirit of broadening the VR market, the people who don't have their VR legs, as I put it, what about, tailor making stuff for them? And my response to that would be, that's what the VR industry has been making for the past 5+ years.
Right.
I mean, it's been things where you don't have free locomotion because that makes people sick. So you're just teleporting around all over the place, or the games are designed with a 15 to 20 minute play session in mind. So you don't have games that allow you to invest in them more if you want them. Or you have games that have like minimal that have minimal gameplay period. So they're these more like kind of experience things where it's all predicated on the novelty, right? Of, oh, I'm in this place that I had only imagined being in before. Oh no.
Oh, you died. Oh my god.
Oh man, this game kicks my butt a lot. You're very fragile in Deus Ex. So yeah. Anyway, like I think you're right in a sense, Matt, in that like the industry agrees with you, but I don't think. I think there is a critical mass of people that have their VR legs, and these are the people that are really buying software.
Still around.
Right.
So I think at some point you have to sort of position what you're going to build, not for the people who will come into the door, but for the people who are already in the door and who can evangelize to the people who aren't in yet.
Anybody see him?
There's a core group of people that love VR and can do long play sessions and want something more from their VR games. And these are the people who are going to sell it to their grandma at Thanksgiving with Beat Saber,
Yeah, and the grandma's going to be like, no.
Well, no, a lot of, I mean, like with the Quest, that was this kind of turning point thing where that was happening. I mean, like people were.
I think that was a COVID thing, though.
Yeah,
I think that was mostly a COVID thing, and that's
COVID played in, for sure.
And that's largely over.
Yeah,
and it's probably sitting just like how the Wii. There's a whole bunch of Wii sitting in storage units and stuff for people who bought it.
But that's a good. I mean, that's a good example too of kind of what I'm talking about here. Like once the novelty wears off, right? You talk grandma into getting a Quest, and she does. And she plays Beat Saber or whatever it is. She does Google Maps because Google Maps fucking rules in VR. I don't know if you checked that out before.
It's amazing.
It's awesome. It's really cool.
Google
way
Maps
better than it has
Earth.
the right to be.
You mean Google Earth?
Google Earth. Sorry, Google
Earth is incredible in
it's
VR.
Awesome.
Absolutely incredible.
Oh, whoopsie.
Okay. I went to Rio de Janeiro on VR. It was incredible.
So, but then like the question becomes like, okay, so now what do I do? After that novelty has worn off, and the answer isn't there for almost anybody, right? So like we could answer that question. I won't say pretty easily, but we could answer that question much more readily for people who are like hardcore gamers. The answer is to what I do next after the novelty of Beat Saber or whatever it is wears off would be try these other full-fledged AAA games, right?
Right.
And that's
just to read well, because Matt responded. He said, definitely, but from a cognitive sensory impact, we still don't have enough data to infer the long-term experiences of gamers yet.
Yes and no. I think you're right on a from a data standpoint, but from a consumer market standpoint and a experiential standpoint, right? We're like 10 years into VR at this point, almost. When did the original Oculus DK1s come out?
2013?
13 or something like that. We're like almost 10 years into this wave of VR.
I mean, hell, PlayStation VR came out 2017, so that's 5 years old.
Right.
So we've had it's been a long time. Like VR is pretty, like VR is older than the Switch. VR is older than, it's as old as the PlayStation 4.
30
almost, yeah, exactly.
So we've definitely had a lot of time to really understand, what makes VR work and what doesn't. We've had a good amount of time. And that's where I come in, where I'm like, is this just is this all amounting to nothing? From the standpoint,
is it gonna flare up and die? And this is not the first VR revolution, by the way. There have been many and they've all flared up and died.
I mean, the
And for
Virtual
one reason
Boy
or
was
another.
technically VR, right?
Yeah. Yep. There was a big VR push in the 90s. Yeah. Is that Darth Vader?
Where is it?
Yeah, it's totally Darth Vader. I wonder if that was in the original game or if that's just the revision. Oh god,
little Easter egg.
Yeah. Oh man,
This is what I say.
Killing me.
They don't miss.
Literally. No, they don't.
They don't. They're not stormtroopers.
Yeah. I do have trouble with. That's the other thing too. That stealth is very, to me at least, very unpredictable in this game.
Because it's stat based as well.
It is to some degree, but I think it's also light based. So like, if I shot out this light, which I think I can do, I think I would probably have an easier time sneaking through here. But it is loud for one. So let me just try and see if I can shoot this light out.
Yeah. And thanks for the questions, Matt Bliss. We always appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay, I can shoot this light out. Oh,
what happened? How'd you die?
I don't know.
Just Deus Ex?
I have no idea.
Just Deus Ex. Honestly, though, watching this, I think I am going. How much was this?
This game?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like you can probably get it on a Steam sale for like $2.
Yeah, I'm gonna look out for that. I think I'm gonna get this. This actually looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to go back and go through all the Deus Ex games, and I feel like I would be remiss if I skip this one.
Yeah, one of the best things about these games is that they're just very systemic, and you can do all sorts of silly, wacky things and get fun responses. How do I get past you guys? Can I throw something?
I think Matt tossed us a grenade of a change topic, and I kind of want to address this a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Matt,
what is it?
We talked about Metal Gear remakes coming soon.
Oh, is there a question mark on that, or is there news?
Yeah, it's a question. It's a question mark, and I would say I am not on the side. I don't think we're getting a remake anytime soon.
Yeah,
I think that is.
I saw somebody.
Very
maybe
far
just
away.
a homeless guy.
Because the only team I think that would have been able to do it was Bluepoint. And Bluepoint's already said that they're making another
a new game.
They're making a new IP.
Yep.
And I think with the Konami situation, I don't think that's gotten any better.
Oh, there's a ladder.
I can't see
This is
shit.
a ladder. Oh my god. This is a game changer. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I agree. I sort of agree with you, Thomas, but mostly from the sense of we've been hearing these rumors and the speculation about Metal Gear remakes for years now, and it never comes to fruition. So I kind of take the stance at this point of I'll believe it when I see it. Not that I don't really want a Metal Gear remake.
Yeah, we want it. Like, don't get it twisted. We want this to come out, but like you said, like it's who's gonna develop it, who actually is going to give the say so of like whether this is gonna happen or not. And if that's Konami, then I don't see a good chance.
Yeah, it's got to be Konami.
And like, would I want, like, in a perfect world, I wouldn't even want a Metal Gear Solid remake. I want a Metal Gear Rising Revengeance sequel. Like, that's what I want more than anything in the world.
Didn't TGS happen already, or is that in progress right now?
I think it's in progress, I believe.
Okay, because Konami's going to be at TGS, right? And there's an assumption that there's going to be some Silent Hill news coming out of that.
I've heard a lot about that too, but like we haven't. Because what? That's Blooper. Is Blooper?
Yeah, Bloober is working on a Silent Hill game, and then there's another one in development outside of that. There were some like leaked screenshots or something of Bloober's game, which was a Silent Hill 2 remake. So that lends some credence to the idea that Konami's game to remake stuff.
That's a fair point.
And Metal Gear would be the best candidate for that.
Do you think that Kojima owns any part of Metal Gear?
No.
He owns nothing of it.
No. Company owns the whole thing.
Man.
So they can do whatever they want with it, and they demonstrated that by releasing Metal Gear.
Oh
Survive.
yeah, right. What's it called? Survive. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That abomination.
Right.
Bought that full price.
You did.
I did. One of the worst mistakes. I played 5 hours of it, and I was like, I shouldn't have done this. This is bad.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kojima.
Gameplay was amazing though. I will say, because it's basically Metal Gear Solid 5
right
gameplay, but the structure of like adding zombie, like that was just not a good decision.
Yeah.
So I think what you just said is that's a very good point. Because Silent Hill is, like, I feel like at this point we know we're getting something from Silent Hill at some point. Within the next 2 years, we're probably going to get, at the very least, a trailer or something. When this thing comes out, we'll never. It's going to be toss up, but you would think Metal Gear would be the first thing they do, not Silent Hill.
Yeah. Oh shit! I did not mean to shoot. I meant to use my keyring. Nano keyring doesn't have the right code. Okay. How the hell? Yeah, the question is, what game should they start by remaking? Should they remake
You got
the original Metal Gear Solid, or should they remake 3?
You have to make first. You have to make one. You have to do one. 3. I mean, look. Personally, 3 is my least favorite Metal Gear Solid game.
Your least favorite? Interesting.
For sure. Like
Really?
it's like bottom.
Why is that?
And then like the other ones I consider masterpieces.
Why the least?
I just didn't like. One, I'm not a Big Boss guy. One. So just that by itself, I'm like, why am I not Solid Snake? Like from that standpoint alone. And then I just didn't like the story. Because it tried to be like a 007 thing, but like I don't know. It just didn't. I just remember playing that game. I did not like it. It felt corny to me compared to the other ones. Like when I think of like one is its own unique thing. And maybe I'm biased, but I played the GameCube version of it, which I think is the best version of that game, Twin Snakes. So I was spoiled. I love that game. I never played the PSX version. Metal Gear Solid 2 has the best twist in video game history. And, still, it's an amazing game just by itself, even without the twist. 4 is this, like, that's one of the most grandest video games I've ever played in my life. Just from terms of, like, I've never played a game that felt so massive without being, like, an open world or anything like that. Like, I'm literally sitting here with popcorn for, like, an hour watching these cutscenes. Especially when we returned to Shadow Moses. I'm like, I'm like, this is insane.
There. Oh, hello.
And then 5 is, to me, one of the greatest open world sandboxes of all time.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Oh wow! I was like, is that a bomb?
Damn.
I was about to say it too.
Damn.
That was legit about to come out my mouth. Like, is that a bomb? And then it exploded.
Yeah, I stupidly just charged right past that obvious palm.
Are you a Metal Gear 3 fan, Ben?
Yeah, I do like Metal Gear Solid 3. Okay, so how do I do this without getting blown up? Can I just take it off the wall if I go quickly? Yes, I can. Yeah, I think like Metal Gear Solid 3 has some of the DNA of 5 in it, which is cool.
I think I do like it better after 5. I will say that. Because I thought I could never like Big Boss. And then 5 showed me, okay, I can fuck with Big Boss. So honestly, 3 might deserve a replay from me. So yeah, I think it's a good point that 5 does make it a little like, I feel like 5 really did flesh out Big Boss a little better, even though the second part of that game is like horrible in terms of story.
Yeah, I think the third one, man, what the hell am I doing here? This is bothering me now. I think the third one has like some of the more coherent storytelling because it's not as tied into the other games. And I think that 60s spy thriller.
That is Darth Vader.
It is, totally is. That 60s spy thriller bent that it has helps it, in my opinion. Just gives it like more unique identity than the other games.
That's fair. It's definitely unique. Definitely can't take that away from it for sure. It feels like a Dr. No. I was about to say the spy who shagged me, but that's Austin Powers. It was a spy who loved me or something like that. Like, yeah, like those Sean Connery era, like James Bond, like it did remind me a lot of those.
Yeah,
that's a good point. So you think that they would do better with that as like the remake as opposed to 1?
1 is a very short game, and I don't think there's any way to get around that. I don't know that you can get away with. You either got to do a Final Fantasy VII type thing.
You from the feds? We
with
don't need
1.
any help.
If you do that, you got to get Kojima back in.
Yeah, I know, right?
And God, I feel like him playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, I would love to be a fly on the wall of like the ideas bouncing around in his head playing that game. And he's like, God, what if I got my hands back on Metal Gear?
Yeah.
Jesus, that'd be insane.
Yeah, so I with 1, I feel like you either gotta do a Final Fantasy VII Remake type thing where you're really overhauling the game in major ways, or you got to bundle it with 2 or something like that. You know, the game can't really stand alone as it is right now.
2's like 15 hours, right?
Yeah, 2 is significantly longer. I think the first game is really like
Spy, huh? Who's there?
If you know the game, you can get through it in like 5-6 hours or something like that.
Yeah,
it's really
that sounds about right. It's a little longer on GameCube. They added some stuff in the Twin Snakes version.
But I also heard with Twin Snakes that that the combat is a lot easier because you can aim and.
Yeah, it's basically they basically made it like with 2. It's like a remake with like 2's engine, I think.
Right. And 2's gameplay and the game was never really designed for you to be able to aim freely like that. Or
I loved it, but I do want to go back and play 1 just to see like how that worked.
Yeah, I hope they add it to the PS Plus collection at some point.
You would think it would already be on it, right?
Yeah, Konami's got to get their shit together, I think. But I hope it'll eventually be on there. That seems like a really like one of the biggest candidates.
Oversights,
for that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a loud ass cat.
And that was a mouse.
That was a mouse?
The second one was.
Oh, okay. You got Tom and Jerry over there.
Yeah, right.
But I just back to the remakes. I mean, what I would want is you make 1, 2, and 4 just this big ass thing. Just make it one game.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That's ambitious.
It would never. It's probably not profitable either, so they would never do it. But
they'll release them piecemeal if they do it, and I'm
four
sure they'll
isn't
find a
even
way.
On PlayStation Plus, right?
4? No.
Yeah, I don't like. You cannot play 4 unless you have an emulator or you have a PlayStation 3 copy, which is egregious.
Oh my God. 4 was on PS Now. It was definitely available for streaming. I don't think it is anymore, but there were some rights issues with the games. I don't know if 4 was one of them. And they got pulled from stores. I remember seeing like just recently that Konami tweeted that they were gonna try to get the games back on stores. But I don't know if that happened yet or not.
Because honestly, you can make an argument. You could just do a 4 remake. I feel like that would be
like 4 that much, to be honest. I don't
really.
I don't know what you see in it. It's so much fan
you don't
service, and it's just so messy.
Sitting back with your popcorn, watching these cutscenes.
I like the cutscenes. That's not my biggest problem with it. It's just like it is such a strange and unfocused game.
That's him.
And you can really kind of see seeds of 5's story in there, but like 5 just has so much less story that it's hard to tell. Where it's just a very I don't know. The other games feel so much tighter compared to 4.
I will say it's probably my 4th favorite.
4 is your 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 is really just after 4 for you.
There's a big gap between 3 and 4.
Okay,
but 4 is definitely next. Because I do feel, from a gameplay perspective, it's not as good as I like 2 better.
Yeah.
2 and 5 kind of go back and forth for my favorites. I probably say 5's my favorite because I feel like that gameplay is just so just chef's kiss. 2 would be next, and then Twin Snakes would be third, which I mean Metal Gear Solid 1 would be its equivalent. And then
have you played the original Metal Gear games?
No, I actually haven't. Have you?
Yeah, they have them on the subsistence version of Metal Gear Solid 3. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I do remember that. That had the cool looking cover. I do remember that game.
Yeah, and so they had them in the or wait, maybe it wasn't added in subsistence. Maybe it was.
No, you're right though. It wasn't Was it in
It was in the Blue Point remasters.
Yeah, the ones that were on PlayStation 3, right?
Yes.
Yes, and
Xbox and Vita too. So I played them on Vita.
I've been meaning to go to them. What kind of games are those? Those 2D, not platform, but 2D like what kind of games are they?
They're stealth games. They're a lot like Metal Gear. I mean, or Metal Gear Solid. They're about stealthing around enemy bases and taking people out quietly or loudly, or however you want to play it. And they have these, the same kind of wacky boss fights. So I feel like if Konami wanted to be really daring, they should remake in 3D those original Metal Gear games.
Careful.
And you could do it. You could imagine just like the license that you could take with those games while making them still feel like Metal Gear Solid games at that point, right?
But the problem is, I only trust Kojima to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like anybody else is gonna feel weird, and they're not gonna hit the tone the same way. That's really important to me. And like, this is why I just want them to sell it to Sony. Like, at this point, like, I feel like I don't know why either Sony hasn't asked them or the price is so outrageous that Sony's like, there's no way we're giving you that much money for it.
Yeah,
but
right.
You're not doing anything with, like, I don't think it's
they're
even
licensing
one of their,
or they're using the license for their pachinko machines. So,
but they can still do, like, I feel like you can, or like Sony's not going to give a care about what they do with the pachinko machines. Right. I'm sure whatever agreement that you could put in the agreement, when we have full license over whatever goes on with the pachinko machines, and Sony's gonna be like, okay, I'm hit. Like, I just don't get it. Like, why are they holding this thing? It's like they hate gamers. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It could be. This is an out there thing. It could be straight up to spite Kojima. Because the first thing that Sony would do...
To me, that's the... I think that's the answer.
That's him. He's a cop.
I mean, there's bad blood there, for sure. There's no doubt.
This one's a guy.
Man, come on. Playing it so carefully.
Because I think they don't want any situation where he's making those games again. I think that is the core of why they haven't done anything. Because they know if they sell it to Sony, they're immediately going to give it to Kojima, like, here you go. Here's your baby back. And they do not want that to happen, which is so petty. That's one of the like. It'd be like, I get you own it, but I don't know. Like, maybe it's because I make art. Yes, there's an ownership involved when you are under, let's say, a label or a studio. But we know that Kojima is Metal Gear. Like, we know, like, and there's nobody who would challenge that who's played these games. We all like, it's not Konami, it's Kojima. And if you're not gonna let Kojima make the games, at least give it to like Blue Point or something. Or at least do something with it. And maybe because Survive failed so bad, they're like, no, okay, there's no way we can do anything else with it. Because they know it's bad blood no matter what. But it's just sad to me that this series is looking like it might be dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's been dormant for quite a while now.
Like, we're like in a world where it's like I see certain things getting remade, I'm like, Jesus, like we should have left this dead. The one thing I want remade is probably never gonna happen because of spite and just
there's a Metal Gear Solid shaped hole in gamers' hearts right now, for sure.
Big one too.
Yeah, yeah. And Death Stranding, Death Stranding filled it a little bit, but not all the way.
The thing is, it didn't like. I played 5 hours of it. It didn't feel it at all. Because that game does not feel Metal Gear. Like, it feels like an anime. And the one thing I can say about Metal Gear,
it feels Metal Gear as hell, dude. I don't know.
It has a lot of 5 in it in terms of how you move. Because I don't know, the Decima engine, the way they made that game, it feels a lot like the Fox engine.
Yeah, there's a lot of stylistic choices. I mean, I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that it's a lot of the same design and art talent.
Right, for sure. And not to say like I don't think it's very Metal Gear. I think it's very Kojima.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it doesn't.
But again, I mean, like Kojima is Metal Gear, so.
No, he is, but I would say it doesn't feel like. Look, you platinumed it, so obviously you have way more of a you experience way more of it than I did. Just in the 5 hours I played of it, like it felt anime as hell. Like it felt like I was watching a anime with like movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
And Metal Gear never felt. I love as much as I love Metal Gear. Metal Gear never felt animated.
Really?
That's it felt surprising. Like it exceeded animated. It felt like it was like almost like post anime. Because the story.
Metal Gear feels super anime to me.
Okay. For me, it never felt anime. It felt out there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and Death Stranding felt like an anime. But maybe it's just because I didn't play enough of Death Stranding, and I do plan on going back to it. But I didn't. I think that's the reason why I didn't stick with Death Stranding, because I expected it to be a lot of Metal Gear-ish, and I didn't get that from what I played. But Death Stranding is a great game. Not speaking ill of it. I think Kojima is going to be just fine regardless. I mean, hell, and Matt both said in the chat, check out his podcast.
Oh yeah, I have not checked it out yet.
I haven't either. I definitely am going to check that out. And also, Matt Bliss in the chat said Shenmue came back. Have you played Shenmue 3?
I've not played any Shenmue.
Okay, so I played the first Shenmue back in the day on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
My cousin had it. Never played Shenmue 2. But I watched the video of a Shenmue fan talking about Shenmue 3 and how it is one of the most disappointing games of all time.
Sad.
So obviously that'd be the worst case scenario for Metal Gear coming back. How would you feel if Konami just said, we're doing Metal Gear Solid 6? How would you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
the balls. There'd be some balls. I have to say, I think I'd have to respect it on a level of wow.
I agree. I would be like, hey, at least you're doing something, But that's like instant internet tear down fodder. I mean, people are just gonna want to hate that game so much that even if it's good, it won't have a chance.
And the problem is, Metal Gear, I would say, is not like a mainstream game.
No,
it's a gamer's game.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna get so it's not like let's say if something goes wrong like Fortnite, it's like, all right, if the gamers hate something about it, it's whatever. The 99.9% of other people playing this aren't gonna notice this thing. Metal Gear is only gonna be played by the gamers, and it's gonna get so much hate even if it's good.
Right.
God forbid that director, whoever directs the game,
yeah, right,
their resume is gonna get
most unenviable job ever.
You might not even be able to find somebody because I feel like nobody's gonna want to do that anyways, right. Because you're gonna be in the footsteps of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Would you consider him the Michael Jordan of game directors at this point?
I think yeah, you're filling very big shoes.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. It's not just the fact that you're filling Kojima's shoes. It's the fact that there was this separation of Kojima and Metal Gear under the terms that that happened. It's the drama of that whole situation. So yeah, the people that are most enthusiastic about Metal Gear would be the most pissed about that and wouldn't be able to let that go. So I think Konami understands that, and that's probably part of the reason that they've taken so long after Survivor, of course, which was, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who advised that.
You didn't even get the name right. That's how bad that game is. Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah.
That game, I feel like that's one of the games that I don't even see at a GameStop anymore.
Right.
It's just lost in the ether.
Yeah, no one's going to buy it anyway.
Matt Bliss in the chat says, how about Konami Connect? Download our UI hub and buy and play all your favorite Konami titles ported and optimized in 4K. Pay for the games by buying NFTs and preserving your CD key on the blockchain.
Christ.
Or gamble your blocks for a chance to win an exclusive wallet filled with Yuna and Terra.
Oh man,
that was
Matt,
a very specific. That was a very specific one right there, man.
Spare us.
Oh my god. Oh
yes.
my goodness. I think that's, you know, I don't think we can get better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's,
hey, at least I would be able to play the games, which is better than you can say for now.
Yeah, well, I can play them on my Steam Deck.
Only because you already own them, right? Or
Yes.
you're just
Yeah,
you're just
of course. They're you know, I own every single
No.
Metal Gear. They are I own every single Metal Gear Konami. Don't come for me. Don't come for the game.
That's funny. I actually didn't mean it in that way. What I meant was you're unable to buy them right now on any. You're unable to buy 2 and 3 because of those licensing issues.
They move supplies.
But if you already own them, you can still
Nothing
download
we can
them.
do
But
about
of course, I wasn't.
Anything recently?
The
bunch of barrels
you know,
came through about an hour.
there's another meaning to that, I guess.
Yeah, double entendre. That's what we call it.
They went through the bathroom like they always.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Only
yeah,
way to get
Konami,
keys
I
from
own
the
all of
NSF
them. Now you have to ask my mom where they are because she's
But I bet he
hidden all
died.
my
Some of the
GameCube games
terrorists.
somewhere.
It's a secret
And my
room.
PS2 games somewhere, but
open
I
the
own
door.
them all.
I'll have a talk with him.
So, but
You
yeah,
won't have to.
I mean, I feel like that's, you know, for me, I'm fine with not ever getting a remake of these games. Like I've accepted that. Because I can play them whenever I want on my Steam Deck now. I can play on my PC. You know, the community for Metal Gear, you know, has made many mods for all the games. So this is just one of those maybe we're asking for this Metal Gear remake and then it comes out and then it's horrible, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's a distinct possibility. It would not be the first time, right?
It will not be the
GTA
first time.
games.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot. Honestly, I purged those from my memory. I totally forgot about those.
30
Yeah.
credits says
That was less than a year ago too.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
Fascist.
Oh man, that little animation gets me every time.
Good stuff. All right, finally. Okay, I cleared this all out, so I should have the key that I need now. And I should be able to unlock that door to the men's bathroom. Hooray! Goodness gracious, I'm really crawling at a snail's pace through this game.
I mean, it's a snail's pace ass game. I actually forgot to tell you, I played through the demo System Shock remake.
Oh, on PC?
Yeah, on PC.
Nice, dude.
I am actively looking forward to when that comes out. That
Yeah,
looks
I can't wait.
That was incredible. That was an incredible. I think I played 2 hours of it.
Yeah.
That was an incredible experience. It looks amazing. I ran the original System Shock just to see how it compares, and yeah, that looks. It's gonna be. It might not get shine because it's a PC only game, and it's a very specific, you know, immersive sim game. But I hope that comes out like soon. And it's doesn't have a release date, right?
No, it doesn't, which is concerning because I think last they said it was going to come out this year, which is like, you know, that's probably not going to happen now.
Oh, definitely not.
But at the same time, I feel like they wouldn't announce a release date until it's imminent, just because it's been so long. You know, I friggin' backed that Kickstarter in 2016, 2015 or something like that. I was still in college.
Oh, dang.
So it's been a while.
I feel like everybody has to go through that. Everybody has to go through that once. Back something that's I hope this comes out, but
this will come out. I'm almost certain it'll come out. They're still making progress on it.
Probably next year, I assume. Like I assume it's gonna come out probably. My guess would be like summer next year.
Yeah, I hope so.
And sales-wise, probably not going to sell much, but it's not for the sales. It's, this seems like it's like this is made for the fans.
Yeah. I agree. If they can position the System Shock remake in the marketing as like, hey, BioShock, this is the game that inspired BioShock. If they can effectively position it that way, I think it'll get some eyes. But it is a very different game. And I think that's not the full story. Oh, come on.
Did you know they were making a TV show?
A System Shock TV show?
Yeah.
What?
It was this is doomed from the start. The show will be made for Binge, a video game centric streaming service.
I've literally never heard of this in my life.
I've never heard of it either. But apparently, the guy who made who wrote the the Mortal Kombat movie from last year, he's been tapped to direct, write, and executive produce the series. So I can confidently say that is never going to happen.
Yeah, I know, right? That's interesting. I had never heard that. I would totally be down for a System Shock series, but
Me too. I think that actually, I feel like if you put that in the right hands, that's there because System Shock is kind of a vague game, so you can kind of go any direction with that.
Yeah.
Like there's enough plot here to kind of have an outline, but you can really fill in whatever you want with it. But that's never happened. There's no way that's happened. So yeah, just watching you play this game, it reminded me oh yeah, I played System Shock earlier this year and I really liked it. I'm hoping that comes out sometime next year. And apparently System Shock 2 has a VR version.
This one's a goner.
Oh really? That one would be a real headache. But you should try it. I'd be interested to try that.
Well, it hasn't come out yet. Now I'm looking at it.
Okay.
But it's supposedly been inspired by Half-Life Alyx, and it uses a lot of the gameplay features that were introduced there, which makes sense.
Yeah, but it's gonna look like a 1999 game.
I mean, honestly, I feel like VR games kind of do look like that already.
So it's not so bad.
Yeah, I think we'll even out. I'm looking forward to what that might be.
Yeah, System Shock 2 is really good. System Shock 2 is really, really good.
That's the one I played. I really did like that when I played it.
I've played the original System Shock 2, the original System Shock as well. But I've never beaten it, although I have beaten System Shock 2. Good Lord, I could not.
So yeah, I played through 2 hours of the remake of 1, and I beat 2 a long time ago. And I was one of those. There are a lot of games that I beat that if you ask me to recall parts, I'm I don't remember. I was in another zone. I don't know. And System Shock 2 definitely falls into that camp. I played it at a friend's house on his PC, and yeah, I mean you can definitely see. I wouldn't necessarily call those that game a classic. But you wouldn't have BioShock without it, so just from that standpoint, I'm glad it exists.
I think it's a classic. I think it's underplayed by people outside of the PC audience. I think it's a really, really strong game, and in a lot of ways, it's it is BioShock long before BioShock.
Do you think that they should attempt to do a console version of the remake?
Of System Shock? There is. They already announced, or they already promised it for PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh, they did. Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So I guess that soon. Hopefully that means they're doing it for PS5 and Series X. I hope it's
Yeah,
not
hopefully they do an upgrade.
I hope they just not even nix the PlayStation 4 version, but I hope they have PlayStation 5 version of that.
Right.
Because I don't think that'd be I'm hoping we get away from just releasing PlayStation 4 games.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, I have no frickin' clue what to do. It says I have to press on a special brick. Oh, who are you?
Take it easy. I'm on your side.
Okay, well, tell me where the special brick is, dude.
He looks like Lenny, too.
Lenny, you bastard. Where's
That's one thing I will say about this game. Like, it's using a lot of the same characters.
Work for them.
Yeah.
You could at least change his shirt.
Yeah. Give him a different color shirt.
Yeah, like, not even change the shirt. Just change the hue of the color. Like,
right.
That's all you gotta do. Just a little bit. Just nitpicking, though.
Well, shit, I don't know. I mean, it says... Okay, so it says in my instructions here... Terrorist commander in a secret room at the south end of the Mole People hideout. Opened by pressing down on a special brick. And here I am at the south end of the Mole People hideout. And these bricks are all looking the same to me.
You're supposed to pick it out of the...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to see it visually or if it's like... Or if I need to talk to that guy again. And he can give me like more specific instructions. Because these, I mean, like, there's no way I'm going to find a brick. And it's like finding a brick in a brick wall. Terrible. Terrible. I will be here all night.
Brick in a brick wall. There's multiplayer in this?
Yeah, I think it's a mod that got integrated. Because it definitely was not. Yeah.
Is it like it's
co-op.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. Okay.
I think it's co-op.
Fuck around. Have a team deathmatch in here.
Yeah, I guess they could. I mean,
that would not be a pleasant experience.
No, I don't think so. Special brick. Special brick. I am dying on the inside. Oh God! Somebody help me.
Did you call this bad game design? I feel like I'm just thinking, like, if you're like designing the game, like, what clues have you given to have the player realistically find this brick in a timely manner?
Right. Yeah, something's wrong here. There's some sort of breakdown. So this guy gave me a clue. Well, I think that it was this guy in this train, and maybe I didn't listen to it thoroughly.
You from the feds? We don't
No,
need
not
any
this
help.
guy. One of these guys around here gave me this clue about the brick.
You with
And
the
perhaps
police?
he gave me more
They're just
info,
a
and the little reminder thing that tells me to press on the special brick is just too truncated. Doesn't give me enough information. Or
Gotcha.
it could be
The
this
terrorist
guy.
leader's command post is on this side of the tunnel to the south.
On this side of the tunnel to the south. Okay, that's important. So it is one of these two areas over here. On this side of the tunnel. Okay, so maybe
So it's the same side he's on.
Yes, exactly. To the south. It could be up there. Probably not. So it could just be on this wall. I see no such thing. There's also the potential that this mod that I have, which overhauls some of the graphics, might be screwing with the look of
the brick.
The brick, right?
That makes sense. That would make sense.
But I don't know if that's the case. But yeah, a special brick is a little much. Like, that is some 90s game design for sure.
Yeah.
Look around for a brick on the brick wall. It's on this side of the...
Might be time to pull out that Google.
Yeah, I know, for real.
It has to be the last case scenario, but you know, I feel like
sometimes you gotta do it.
Alfredo doesn't believe in it, but nah, you gotta pull out that
Sometimes you
Google.
gotta do it.
Sometimes you got to.
I find that these days I have less and less patience for this kind of shit.
As I remember when I was younger, I used to hate looking at guides.
Yeah.
I used to be like one of those gamers like, no, you have to get through the game. But no. Like, just because some parts of the game you might not be able to get it or it's not well designed doesn't mean you should be stopped from enjoying the rest of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And it's not always your fault. Sometimes it is your fault as a player.
And if it's your fault, it is you bought the game. It's, you can do whatever you want. So.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not always your fault. These games are made by people, and people are fallible. And so sometimes the game is fallible, and sometimes it's just bullshit, like this brick. All right, I'm looking it up. Oh man,
the real bricks are the friends that we made along the way.
Yeah. Mole tunnels. Where's the brick?
I'm gonna go to Steam now and see how much this game is. Maybe it's on a Steam sale right now. Yeah, $7 seems a little much for this, which is crazy because that's less than like a Chipotle bowl.
But yeah, is it on sale right now or is it not?
No, it's not on sale. It's just $7 flat.
Oh
my God! My wish list. Wait, what? That's it?
That's it right there.
What? It's a normal looking brick.
I didn't even. I mean, like it's obvious. It's special because it's protruding, and none of the other bricks are protruding. But literally,
yeah, you gotta be
way
up
I was
close.
Gonna see that.
You gotta be up close to see. Oh man, yeah. I don't know if that's the mod or if it's
it might be the mod.
Old gameplay. I don't know, but man, that's
so. There was a hint that I had missed. Are you gonna kill me? No? Can I talk to you? Oh, hello. Okay, good.
The mole people say the ambrosia came through here an hour ago.
I'll cooperate. Relax. The key to the men's restroom is on the table.
This better not be a joke.
And okay, there we go. Flamethrower. I don't know enough.
The key's on the corner of the table.
Yeah, when I looked it up online, there was a hint that I might have missed that, like, the kids say it's behind some cardboard boxes. So those cardboard boxes that I destroyed earlier would have kind of helped me narrow down the area.
The game shouldn't allow you. Well, I guess obviously it's an immersive sim, so obviously it's gonna let you destroy the cardboard boxes. But still, like that's very annoying.
Yeah, they did tell me it was on that side, and they did tell me that it was a special brick, which is, I mean, it was just too subtle. I do understand you don't want people to necessarily find it on accident without going through those steps, but you want to balance not being able to find it on accident with not being able to find it when you're purposefully looking.
Well, modern games have solved the problem of when you talk to somebody, a lot of times the information that they give you stays with you.
Yeah, and well, in this case, they do have that. I mean, it's in this goals notes here.
Oh, you have that. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Terrorist commander in a secret room at the south end of the mole people hideout, opened by pressing down on a special brick. And then I went and talked to the guy again. He said that it was on that wall on the south end. So that, like I'm saying, it's like it was most of the way there, but the brick was so difficult to see, and it might be the mod again that makes it harder. But even with all that information, I was looking for it, and I still couldn't find it. So yeah, I don't know.
The trials of a immersive sim.
Yeah.
There's nothing like them though. There is nothing like an immersive sim game. Like,
I wonder if there were other ways for me to access. I have to imagine there were other ways for me to access that door, because that's one of the design philosophies of immersive sims, that you've got multiple
ways to attack a
opportunities
problem.
yeah, exactly. Which I did try to blow open the door, and it didn't let me blow open the door, and I thought that was kind of bullshit.
Is the immersive sim genre dead?
It's not alive and well. I can say that much. I don't know if it's dead, but it's not. It's not.
I was trying to
okay,
think.
so actually, well, let me backpedal a little bit.
Mhm.
Deathloop won Game of the Year last year. That's not for nothing. Deathloop's an immersive sim,
And I love Deathloop. You know this. I was the one person defending it heavily on our Game of the Year last year. Watch that if you haven't watched it, by the way. I love Deathloop, but even as an immersive sim, like if I compare it to something like, even like BioShock, which I feel is probably the best representation of a modern immersive sim. It's not comparable in terms of, like, I feel like Deathloop feels on rails compared to something like that, or even something like, you know, even Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
Mm-hmm.
Like Deathloop felt very, like when I did my second playthrough of it, I noticed like how on rails it was. Like there really isn't, like, yes, you can attack things at a different time of day, but like it's all going towards the same thing, and it's all it has to happen in the same sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So even then, like, would you call Deathloop an immersive sim, or would you call it like
I
immersive sim
would.
inspired?
I would call it an immersive sim, but I do understand what you're saying in that like a lot of the core kind of elements have been stripped away. It's very streamlined, and I think that's part of the reason that it got some attention that I think Prey deserved, but didn't get.
And I heard that Prey Mooncrash is the better version. I haven't played it, but I heard Prey Mooncrash is basically the proof of concept of Deathloop done better.
Yeah, I personally prefer Mooncrash to Deathloop. I think there's a lot of things that are way better in Deathloop. For one, like the narrative is way better in Deathloop.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got
I love the Deathloop story.
Yeah, it's got great characters. But Mooncrash is a much more budget. It's DLC,
right?
So it's a different ball game.
But in terms of like gameplay and how it's structured, I've heard they're very similar.
That's him.
And I heard that Prey Mooncrash does everything a lot better than Deathloop does, because Deathloop, it doesn't have that on rails feel that Deathloop has.
Yeah, you legitimately can approach things in many different varied ways, and the time loop aspect of it really plays in there in a key way that I think Deathloop's time loop ended up being more. Oh, okay.
That's a turn.
Oh man. Okay. When was my last save? I think Deathloop's time loop ended up being more of an aesthetic thing. It was a dressing for the game rather than a core aspect of its identity.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I mean, it was really core. I can contradict myself in the same in the same thought there.
No, I get what you mean, though. Yeah, I do get what you mean by that. And this is coming from somebody who, like, I think Deathloop's not a 5 out of 5, but I really enjoyed it. But once you play through a game twice, you start seeing the flaws of it, and it like I said, like that on rails feel, especially, like, it really comes when you get everything done in Deathloop and you can do the final run. That's where to me it felt, like this is not an immersive sim in the same way as something like this is. And I wouldn't even say it's like an evolution of that either. I feel like it's almost like it feels more, not roguelike, but it feels more, it just feels different than something like this, something like even BioShock. And if that's the direction that immersive sims are going, I fear that they're going to lose their identity.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you, and it does concern me to some degree. I feel like Arcane is the studio that is really holding the torch, carrying the torch for immersive sims right now. Not very many other studios are doing them, and the ones that aren't necessarily even doing them well, even when they've got like really storied talent there. I mean, like there was a spiritual successor to Ultima Underworld that came out a few years ago called Underworld Ascendant that was just, I haven't played it, but apparently it's just not very good. And that was developed by some of the people that worked at Looking Glass on the System Shock and Thief games, and some of the people that worked on this game, Deus Ex. So it's like, it had real pedigree behind it. So yeah, I've looked at Arcane for a while, especially since Irrational closed as like this last kind of bastion of this design philosophy.
Look like they come out somewhere by the airfield.
And
Careful, though. The terrorists probably expect
they seem to be less and less interested in the straight up immersive sim.
Yeah.
Than they
Redfall
used to
doesn't
be.
Look like, Redfall doesn't look like it's going more immersive sim.
Right, exactly. So like I feel like Deathloop is a step back from. I feel like Dishonored and Dishonored 2 are really hardcore immersive sims, but I feel like Prey is the most hardcore immersive sim that they went. And I think it might be their best game.
I've heard that.
But now, and Prey did not do well commercially.
Also, did you hear, there was a report that came out like maybe a couple weeks ago that the director of that game, they didn't want to call it Prey. And
yeah, I listened to that podcast with Rafael Colantonio.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Bethesda at large. I don't know who told them they had to call it Prey, but he was disgusted by that. Which is, I mean, honestly, like that makes a lot of sense because I played the original Prey games. And that game, like I remember I didn't like it at first because I'm like, this isn't Prey.
This isn't Prey, right?
Yeah, this isn't Prey at all. Like I don't know what's going on here. And when he said that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And honestly, if it had been called something different, I probably would have had a different reception to it. But probably would have sold even worse if it was called something.
I don't know. I don't know if it would have sold worse. I think that was a poor marketing decision, and I think it confused a lot of people who were interested in the game as to what exactly it was.
Well, right?
What's that?
It didn't review like it was the best game they ever made.
Yeah,
I remember reading some reviews.
I think you're right.
You know, like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. And playing it last year, I'm like, oh, this is a very good game. Like this is like, it's almost like I'm trying to think of the other, like it's I don't know, but I just feel that it's a very well-made game that at this point, I feel since it didn't do good sales-wise,
30 credits.
they are going in a different direction as a studio. Especially, I'm sure Microsoft is probably like, yeah, we want you to make some Deathloop type games. Like, we don't want you to make any Prey. We don't want you to make Dishonored anymore. Like, I assume that's like, a part of it as well.
Yeah, and I think that Deathloop is no less than a great game. I think I said this when we were talking about it for Game of the Year. And so if we just continued to get games like Deathloop on the level of Deathloop from Arcane, I don't think that would be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Deathloop's their best game, and that's just from the standpoint of I played through maybe 7 hours of Prey, played through maybe 3 hours of Dishonored 1 and like 2 hours of Dishonored 2, so I'm not like invested in a lot of their other games. But I can appreciate a lot of them from an artistic standpoint, but none of them kept me around. But Deathloop did. And Deathloop, I feel Do you think it's impossible for one of these immersive sims to have a story on like the level of Deathloop? 'Cause I feel like it's not impossible. I feel like you can do an immersive sim in, kind of like this, like the system stock style, but make the story like really like compelling and interesting.
Yeah, well, I think BioShock is that game.
Yeah.
Or prove that model.
Right,
man. Let's speed that up. Loading. But the thing, yeah, and it's funny because BioShock Infinite also kind of has this. People feel this way about BioShock Infinite, that like Irrational kind of lost the plot, and that they really scaled back the systemic nature of the original BioShock. Oh, you jerk.
Yeah, I mean, Infinite is the least BioShock of those three games, but I really love it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really love Infinite. I probably like it a little more than one, to be honest. Like, I really do love that game, but even that one, like, it's not like, I feel like that was them getting away from immersive sim as well. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I sort of agree that it's much more of an action game, especially I played it recently. And it's much more of an, oh no, if I throw this, I'm fucked.
Because I remember when they were advertising that game, and the thing they were highlighting was like the parkour elements. Like when you're up in the sky, you can scale on the and you like have that grind thing where you can grind on the like that was the thing that was highlighted.
Skyhook,
Skyhook. Like that was the thing that
dope.
was. Love it. That's probably the reason why I like it more than the other. Because that game just had a kinetic feel to it.
Right.
The original BioShock.
Yeah, it's much more of an action game.
Right. So at the same time, it's like I want the immersive sim genre to continue to thrive. And hell, just to bring it back, what would you think of an immersive sim in VR?
Oh, dude, yes, that's what I need. That's what I need.
I think Half-Life Alyx was like it's not an immersive sim. It's definitely not immersive sim. But like it did open my like mind to like I would love like an actual Half-Life game in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saints and Sinners definitely has some of that. I mean, Thief was one of the core games that was like on our list of core influences for Saints and Sinners. Thief,
I didn't know that.
If I recall correctly, Thief and This War of Mine were the two explicit games that were like written down. These are games that we want to model, or that we want to take inspiration from, basically.
Yeah.
The feeling of sneaking around in people's houses, right? That you get in Thief. While they're occupied,
Yeah.
That's something that obviously in Saints and Sinners it's a little bit different. You're sneaking through people's houses, but they're abandoned and now they're full of zombies.
Right. That's interesting.
So
You're right. I never
but
thought of it that way. Yeah, it is. That there is like that immersive sim like Thief element to it. Yeah, that's interesting. That's really good to know.
So yeah. I mean, like, so there's definitely some immersive sim DNA. I wouldn't go so far as to call Saints and Sinners an immersive sim. But definitely inspired by, obviously, I mean, like it's, inspired by Thief for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Saints and Sinners an immersive sim either. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Kind of maybe a little deeper than this, but it's kind of like how Madden is like an RPG because you can level up and you can like like put your stats and different attributes and stuff. But it's like obviously it's a sports game. Like I feel like
sure, yeah, right.
But
yeah, it's got some of that. It's got the DNA, but it's not. In some ways, it's like taking bits that work in service of a survival game, and leaving things that don't.
But I just feel like how VR work, like VR is such an immersive experience just in and of itself. And you add like an immersive sim, like even if you just port one of these games on there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like even if you like port this game, like I feel like this game in VR would actually be like kind of interesting.
Yeah, if you could actually like pick up items and
Yeah.
Use your hands and all that kind of stuff. I think it could be a pretty compelling experience. I would be surprised if somebody hasn't already ported this game, if a modder hasn't already ported this game to VR.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that there is some sort of, and I just said up earlier that System Shock 2, they're working on a VR version of that. So, and I would probably be looking for like a publisher to publish this and have like a developer actually develop it and sell. Because I feel like that could be a genre that could help with VR gaming. Because I feel like immersive sims really do lend themselves well to a VR experience.
I agree. I'm not sure what exactly it is with immersive sims and why they don't sell well generally. Run.
They're niche. They're niche.
But what makes them niche?
Because they're very involved. Like it's a very involved experience. Like BioShock is an exception because BioShock it looks really good, but at the time, like it looked really good as well. But if you're playing an immersive sim now, like you're mostly playing like older games. So from that standpoint,
but I mean, like Dishonored is not, Dishonored 2 is definitely not that old. Prey is not that old.
That's true. And Prey didn't look bad. It definitely looked like a modern game when it came out. So from just that standpoint, I see what you're saying. Like, why is it not good? No, not good. Why is it not popular?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot more. You're asking the gamer to do a lot more in those games than, all right, let's drop and find a spot in Fortnite. Like there's just a different level of, like, if you're a gamer and you want to really like if you're someone like you, Ben, for example, who you love game design, these games are like candy,
right?
And for me, like, I'm somebody who appreciates. I don't love game design per se. I appreciate it. I can tolerate a lot of these games, and I love a bunch of them.
Sure.
But for somebody who doesn't like love like the inner workings of games, I feel like these can be very, very dull, especially in the moments like, for example, when we had that brick moment.
Right.
It's like for you and me, that's let's Google it because we still want to see what the rest of this game offers. For somebody else, that is, it's time to turn this game off and turn on Fortnite.
Right.
And so I think there's a little bit of that in it. I don't think it's the quality by any means. I think immersive sims, in terms of like on average, like in terms of the best ones, like they are some of the best games of all time.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the reasons that, oh man, not this way. If I had to guess what the biggest reason is, I would guess, and this is actually something I think Warren Spector talked about with Deus Ex. Warren Spector was the executive producer on Deus Ex. I don't think he was the director, but he was.
And System Shock, right?
And he was a producer on the original System Shock. Yes.
Okay.
And Thief. Okay. So yeah, I mean he's all over immersive sims. He said of Deus Ex that when it came out that if people want a stealth game, they're going to be unhappy with Deus Ex. If people want a combat, shooter, they're not going to be happy with Deus Ex. And if people want like an RPG, they're not going to be happy with Deus Ex. But if people realize that you can talk, sneak, or fight your way out of every situation, then it's going to work, right? Then they're going to be king. Because that's what immersive sims offer. They offer you that lateral mobility for every obstacle. So the reason that, coming back around to why that makes them niche, is that they tend to never be, they're the jack of all trades but the master of none. They tend to never be exceptional at anything that they offer. It's not the best sneaking experience. It's not the best combat experience. It's not the best RPG experience. But it's a little of everything. So in every situation, you've got a choice. So for the people that appreciate the freedom of choice, it's great. And but you also have to realize that that's what's happening in the game. So if you've never heard of immersive sims, you don't know what the hell this term even means. And you go into this first-person shooter called Prey, that doesn't feel like a very good first-person shooter.
That's also like a remake of an original franchise that was in a completely different genre.
Yeah. Then you might bounce out off of that just because the shooting's not super tight. So I feel like that's some of the answer, is that you have to realize what's going on there. There's a level of understanding the subgenre.
Yeah.
That's necessary in order to embrace it for what it's good at and look past the things it's not good at, which are the things that you might expect a game that calls itself a first-person shooter to be good at, you know?
Well, that's why I think BioShock is so good, because BioShock works at almost everything. I feel like BioShock is not a jack of all trades and master of none. I feel like BioShock is a jack of all trades and a master of a couple things. Like, I think its combat is genuinely good. Like, I think original BioShock combat is incredible, actually. I think the story in BioShock is incredible as well. I think the setting of BioShock is incredible. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it for the most part.
There have only really been 2 breakout hits of games that you could consider immersive sims that sold like millions of copies and created a franchise, you know? BioShock was one of them, and Dishonored was the other one. And I think that
too, right?
No.
Really?
I think, I mean, like, the Deus Ex games have sold well. The first game sold enough to make another game. You know, Thief sold well, but it didn't last, you know, and it was never on the level of BioShock or Dishonored. I think
fair enough.
You know, the original BioShock and Dishonored are in like the tens of millions sold category.
And then even then, Dishonored might be dead.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It wasn't enough to keep the franchise alive. Oh no, what have I done?
How far is that water? Oh my God.
There's a swimming skill in this game that is almost completely useless, but that's one of the places where the swimming skill would have been useful.
The one part of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's sad, but I mean, because Dishonored, you're right, is, you know, definitely a modern, because that's even newer than BioShock, right?
Yeah, Dishonored was 2012, and I think part of the reason that Dishonored was so successful was on the back of BioShock, because I think it read to a lot of people like, oh, this gives me lots of BioShock vibes, and you know, BioShock was still very popular and in the public consciousness at that point. So I think BioShock kind of helped lift Dishonored's boat.
I think Mankind Divided also sold well, didn't it?
No. Human Revolution sold well, I think.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But Mankind Divided didn't sell well enough for Square Enix to want to make another Deus Ex game.
Do you think we're never going to get another Deus Ex?
No, I think we will now that Embracer owns them.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, when I saw that Square Enix no longer owns it, I feel like it has a better shot of coming back.
Yeah,
probably not for years, but I do think we'll see one eventually.
And I don't necessarily think that Eidos Montreal will be making the next Deus Ex game. Just because
I think they are full steam ahead on
Marvel.
Yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxy might be a franchise.
I could see that too. I think that game needed a lot more marketing than it got.
I think it sold well regardless. I think it sold pretty well. It, you know, reviewed fairly well. I think it was like average like 3.5 out of 5. Like, I think it's average like 80 something on Metacritic. And just for my anecdotal, I love that game. So I cannot blame them for saying we're done with this genre.
Right.
Because you got to make money as a studio. And unfortunately, immersive sims just aren't there. I just feel like it could work in something like VR, because VR needs games. It needs unique games, and I don't think that making a immersive sim is a very expensive endeavor. I mean, you probably would know better than me. Like, is that like something that's like, would that, in terms of other games being made, would making an immersive sim for VR be a super expensive thing?
See.
It's completely black.
I have no way of seeing right now. I don't know if there's anything.
That's crazy.
At least I can see my hand.
I don't know if this is the glitch or is it.
It's super dark, and I have no like augmentation energy in order to use my flashlight, because you don't have just a regular flashlight. You've got a bio augmentation flashlight.
Wow.
So I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck.
I have never seen a game get that dark in my entire life.
It's completely pitch
You
black.
couldn't see a thing. There wasn't a pixel on the screen.
And I don't know how to get out, because I don't know which way I have to go in order to.
This is what happens when you get trapped in a cave.
I'm screwed. Totally screwed. Oh, light source. Okay, all right. This is where I entered from. So something is over here that I can sneak into. And this might be the way to go, but I can't see anything, so I'm not going to go there again. Yeah, so what I was going to say with immersive sims, like, these games don't tend to get super large budgets because they don't tend to sell super well. But I would say that they're not. I don't know. It's
because I don't think you can justify like giving a big budget to an immersive sim game and having it release on everything, console, PC, and all that. I think those days are over, unfortunately. Unless you're going to make a Deathloop, which is kind of like a half measure. But I do think if you just release one on VR and like advertise it as like the first official immersive sim on VR, you know, like something like that, I think that it, like, because it's such a different experience and you don't have anything like that on VR currently. And I feel like it's the one, because if you think about all the other genres of video games, I feel like a lot of times like they're worse on VR. I feel like immersive sims is the one genre that I think would be better in VR.
Yeah,
you're not losing. You're not losing anything. You're only gaining more immersion.
Right. And the physical presence in the space too. Really allows you to take full advantage of the inherent flexibility of these types of games.
Yeah, and I think the proof of concept would just be to remake one of them and put them in VR and see like how it would sell. Like, you know, just to see, because I mean, one, like I said, VR needs more damn games. But the other thing, I think immersive sim needs I think PC is the platform of choice for immersive sims. But I think adding VR to it would help, because like you said, like we started, like this is not a live and breathing genre right now.
Right.
It's on life support. We're coming to see it every couple weeks, seeing the status. It's not looking good. You know, we can't be waiting on Redfall to come out.
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of say that just because of how poorly Prey did and how Dishonored was disappointing, but like I don't think you can discount the fact that Deathloop won Game of the Year, and yeah, is it a kind of lighter version of an immersive sim? Yes, but I think it's still, you know, I think it still fits the genre, and it's a more hardcore immersive sim than the original BioShock was, I think.
What? Because I guess my thing is with Deathloop, I mean, it's in the name, loop. Like, it feels more roguelike than immersive sim to me. It's not a roguelike. But that's how much I feel it's not really immersive sim either. Like it feels,
it's a fusion. Yeah, it's a fusion.
Yeah, and I feel it leans more in the roguelike because it really is about your run. And to beat the game, you have to go on a perfect run. That's the roguelike influence of it.
Scanning area.
I want to see this genre thrive on its own merits. I mean, I think BioShock is probably the best example where it's like, obviously BioShock was given maybe one of the bigger budgets of immersive sim has ever received. At least the
original wasn't. I mean,
maybe
I think,
maybe Infinite was.
Yeah, Infinite definitely was. But I also don't think I would necessarily consider Infinite an immersive sim. I think they went far enough in the action direction that at that point it's a shooter.
That's fair.
You're entering a Hella-based terminal below a private
hell,
section
make
of
a
LaGuardia.
Bioshock VR.
Veer to the east. You should be
Dude,
able
I
to
would
take
love
the
that.
elevator to ground level.
Oh my god,
If you get
I never,
trouble,
I can't believe I just thought of that just now. Like, why would we not? We need to have that. Oh my God.
Somebody made a mod for Half-Life Alyx that like recreates Bioshock. You should check that out.
I probably will. I love the original Bioshock, and I feel that in VR would be. It's hard to change perfect because Bioshock is already like pretty. I can't really like. That's one of those games where I'm like, I don't know why I'd do better with that. Like I'm usually good at picking out little things that are wrong with games, but I'm like that game. That's a game that does everything it sets out to do in the best way possible to me.
You wouldn't change the Atlas fight at the end?
Okay, maybe right. But
there
honestly,
was a funny tweet I saw one time where like Ken Levine apologized on Twitter for the Atlas fight.
What's funny is a lot of games don't know how to end. I feel like that's a problem with a lot of games.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that on the last. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast, but me and Alfredo were debating seafood.
Oh yeah.
And I was that far from immersive sim, but I was loving. I was thinking like, oh my god, is this my game of the year? Like I was playing through this game. I was addicted to this game for a while. Then I get to that last like boss area up to the boss fight, and the game completely lost me. And all the flaws that I excused from the game just revealed themselves.
Just crashed down, yeah.
And it made me question the structure of the game.
Right.
And not this, I'm not gonna spoil anything like I did on the podcast.
Thought I saw someone.
But
A guy in a coat.
it's like it's so hard to end a game because you have to like do it in a way where all the things you've learned to this point are applied. And that's hard.
Yeah, no, it is, yeah, and you're wrapping up the story, and the thing, one of the key aspects that is like an inside baseball kind of thing that happens a lot in game development that makes endings weaker is that it just makes one. It's a fact that most people don't finish their games.
You just look at the trophies.
Exactly. Look at the trophies. Look at the achievements. Most people don't finish games, and it's. I would hazard a guess that that's mostly just a time investment thing. Most people finish a movie that they start because the movie's 2 hours long.
Right. Do
most people finish a book that they pick up and read? I don't know.
I wish we had trophies for those.
Yeah, I know, right?
That'd be. I'd love to see what that looks like.
Yeah, exactly. I think you would find a comparable percentage of people pick up a book, and then they leave it unless they're avid readers. And
That's
like the same thing.
argument.
The same thing goes for us. So like we're avid gamers, so we finish our games.
Right.
Even still, I've never finished Deus Ex. I've played Deus Ex like 3 or 4 times. I'm so fucked.
There's been plenty of games
because of things like this where I just get totally fucked. Okay. Oh, this is an attack helicopter. Okay, this is awesome. This is the best possible situation I could
Take him out.
You get to fly it?
I wish.
That's him. He's a cop.
I have no ammo. What am I supposed to do here? I guess I could kill them with bullets, but I don't like to do that.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So what I was saying, most people don't finish their games, and you want to grab people with a game as quickly as possible, especially like in ages gone by, in like the days of demos, which are coming back to some degree with like
surprisingly, yes. It's very interesting that that's like, and Nintendo too. Honestly, Nintendo was the trailblazers of that. For at least recently, they've been offering demos for almost the entire run of the Switch.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Shouts out to them for doing one thing more friendly.
That's one of the three missing barrels.
I think we've got an intruder.
Yeah, most people don't finish their games. Most people are, they hear about a game, they're like, "Oh, I'll play that." And they play it, they like it, then life happens.
Right, exactly. So, one of the kind of truisms in game development is that you end up spending a lot more time on the beginning of the game than you do on the end, because everyone's going to see the beginning of the game. Everyone who plays the game will see it.
And you want them to stick around.
Yeah, and you want them to keep playing. Yeah, you want a good hook.
This is what I signed on.
So the end tends to get less focus, not only from like development resources generally, but like the overall thought process of like how do we land the ship. So, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've been in development scenarios where the question gets raised of like, where does that lead us ultimately for the end, you know? And the answer is always like, that's for future us to worry about.
Oh man, yeah.
And eventually you do have to worry about it, right? But you figure out the questions that come in a sequential order. So you figure out the questions that start at the beginning of the game first.
Right.
And
I know I heard something.
Wherever that leads is for future you to figure out.
And hopefully it's tangible, and hopefully it, you know, all wraps up like neatly in a bow.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so a lot of times you get years into a project and you don't have a good answer, and so like you just have to find an answer.
Right, because you might be working on the beginning of the game, and I mean, I assume that not all games start at the beginning in terms of development. I would safely assume that, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Yeah,
but I doubt you
a
make
lot
the
of
end
times
first too. I'm pretty sure that's just.
It's never the end. No, yeah, it's never the end. It's
right.
Yeah.
So that I figure that that's a big part of like you probably put the most attention to the beginning, but it might not be the first thing you work on.
Yeah, especially if you're doing something like a vertical slice where you're or a vertical slice where you're proving out a concept, or some demo like you're shopping the game around to publishers. Yeah, you're going to start on something that is like somewhere in the middle of the game to kind of prove out the ideas.
That makes sense.
In a way that is like comprehensible to somebody who can jump in with no prior knowledge. So typically you'll have like an extra tutorialized kind of midsection of the game that you would start out making. And sometimes that gets turned into a section of the game, and sometimes it just gets thrown away. So, right, you know, it's not even necessarily something that ships. In fact, you can look at BioShock Infinite and at some of like the demos initial, that they had.
Yeah, the initial gameplay is on the game. You're right about that. I forgot all about that.
Yep.
I remember the first thing I saw, I was like, oh, I can't wait to play that. And then I got through the whole game. Like, this whole sequence is gone. I mean, look, that probably was, you know, based on testing they did, and they figured, oh, this part is not testing well, so we're going to take out the game or whatever. You know,
yeah,
it's obviously different reasons for different.
Yeah, I doubt it was even that. I doubt it was even that like quantified. It was probably most likely there were ideas for a story, and then the story changed a lot.
Right.
And then what was there no longer fit the new story.
Right.
Because from what I understand of BioShock Infinite's development, it was very like, you know, very Ken Levine driven.
Because that's the one. So that's his second game in the BioShock series, right?
Yeah.
Which is his not direct sequel, but his sequel to the original BioShock. Because BioShock 2 was
he didn't work on BioShock
right?
2, yeah.
And I love BioShock 2 as well. That's another thing. Like,
yeah, and it's funny. It's funny too because like you were saying earlier that you didn't know of like what you would change of the original BioShock. There are some things you could change in the original BioShock, and like almost all of them, I think.
It's been a while. It's been a while, and that was the first immersive sim that I played. That I was, you know, I completely got addicted to that game. And I didn't even look at it as an immersive sim because at the time it came out, I didn't know what immersive sim was.
Who was that?
I was just playing it as a genuine game, you know. And so, like, when I learned later, like, oh, this is a whole genre of games, you know. That
right.
So I have very much rose-tinted lens glasses of that game. So
what I was going to say is like the things you would change, the things that one might change about BioShock. A lot of them got, you know, a lot of those boxes got checked in BioShock 2, and is like gameplay refinements where you can like dual wield your plasmas and your plasmids and your
That's true.
and your guns at the same time. The hacking mini game, you know, goes away and becomes a different mini game.
I like that mini game though. I'm a sucker for good mini games in games. Like, look, I said, I beat it. I'll beat it till it's dead.
I like it too.
I love the Spider-Man mini game. Everybody hates that mini game in that game. Like, if you make a well-made mini game, like I don't mind it. I feel like a lot of gamers like really hate mini games in their games.
Yeah, there's a bias against mini games. I agree.
Like Cyberpunk's mini game gets a lot of hate. I love that thing. It's just, you know, if it's because I think the core of it is it can't be annoying.
Yeah,
like, I feel like Skyrim little lock picking thing. I hate that shit. Like I hate that whenever Bethesda does that shit.
Oh,
that was an interesting maneuver he just did. He just shot you, ran away, and then came back and shot you again.
There's a lot of that in this game. Can I stand up, please? What is going? Oh, he shot off my legs. Okay, I have no legs.
Oh my god!
I'm going scorched earth because I have no.
Whoa!
All right.
I was not expecting him to pull off the flamethrower.
We best call it here because I'm starting to go scorched earth, and I always play these games stealth.
Well, look, we talked about VR development. We talked about the future of VR and immersive sims, and I think we kind of came full circle in saying maybe they should make an immersive sim VR game.
I would love it. I would buy it day one.
I love it too. How would you recommend Deus Ex, the original? People. Let's say, would you recommend it to somebody who has never really played an immersive sim?
I think it's probably not the place to start. Okay. If you're it depends on what your appetite is for older games. The game shows its age at this point, and if those kind of rough edges are gonna turn you off, I wouldn't start with Deus Ex. I'd maybe start with something like Dishonored.
That's fair. I think I'm interested in it from the standpoint of I love Mankind Divided, and I love what I played of Human Revolution. And this is looking like I think I can ignore the jank enough to get an enjoyable experience for me on my Steam Deck, but for others, you know, just playing on PC, I think would be a good experience too. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, I think it's a good place to end. Thank you for all of our listeners who came in. Matt, of course, thank you for joining us. Brian, thank you for joining us. Want to thank everybody for listening and watching the Dukes of Gaming stream. We'll be coming at you real soon with some more hot takes. Till then, we both bid thee farewell.